Welcome to the Couch Potato Sports Show, your internet radio home for all sports, news, and talk. Join Sonny Clark, the hardest working man in sports radio, and the Eagle Eye, Bill Cerna, and the best co-host anyone could ask for, Cuervo. We cover it all: NFL, NBA, MLB, NHL, as well as indoor football and high school sports. Now, it's time. Here's Sonny Clark.
All right, everybody, welcome into the Couch Potato Sports Show. It is me, Sonny Clark, the hardest working man in sports radio, coming to you live here on a Monday morning, 10 a.m. for the Monday morning quarterbacking show. The show is on, if we're going to be on. It's going to be the Monday morning quarterback, and we're going to bring on our co-host here fairly soon, hopefully, fingers crossed. Cuervo, he said he'll be here, so we'll do it and get that all set and ready to go. Very busy weekend for old Sonny, as I did a lot of work because I am the hardest working man in sports radio, as well as we had a great promotion here locally here in the Dallas area, actually down in Claiborne, about an hour and 15 minutes southwest of Dallas in Claiborne, Texas, as we had a wrestling promotion going on down there at Sword Championship Wrestling, crowned a new junior heavyweight champion on Saturday night for Sword Championship Wrestling. And on July 11th, we're back at the Dallas Elks Lodge doing what we do best there right here in the Dallas area. We will be crowning a new Sword World Heavyweight Champion on July 11th, and we're going to be working on a lot of things for Sword Championship Wrestling, as well as a lot of things that are going on. Let's see what's going on. It's good to see my man, my buddy, Steel City Storm. And so he's at work right now, but hopefully he'll be able to join us and get on. If you want to make a comment, you want to get your feelings known, make a comment. You have to approve your comments to go to Streamline. So make sure that you do that. If you see that and you're watching this over on the Facebook side, give permission for your comments to come on over here, and we'll be talking about those comments. We'll be talking about things that are going on. So always good to see Steel City Storm checking in. Of course, he said he's at work, so hopefully he'll get the opportunity to jump in and maybe catch the show a little bit later as well. That is going on. So pretty happy about what's going on. As you can see, got a new background. We'll be introducing a lot of new backgrounds behind me as far as the Couch Potato Sports Show backdrop studio. That'll be all set and ready to go, and just kind of bringing a variety to the Couch Potato Sports Show. Now, the big news, of course, that's out there, we're going to hold off for a little bit, so hopefully Cuervo can get in here. Hopefully Brian Tarvin can be in as well. So hopefully we'll get that, and I am letting Cuervo, we are on now. There we go. So I got that message over to him. So hopefully he'll be in here fairly soon. Lots of things going on in the sporting world, and I'm going to get Cuervo's opinion on some of the things that we have been talking about for the last couple of weeks, as he has not been able to join us live on the show. So I want to get his opinion on some things. So we'll be probably jumping back a little bit on some of the things that we did talk about a couple of weeks ago, so Cuervo can get in and let us know what he's thinking about certain things that are going on in the sporting world. So I do want to talk about a couple of things outside of the big news. We all know what the big news is, but we'll talk about it a little bit later on when Cuervo gets here. But there is some other news going on. Major League Baseball, they have agreed. Well, I don't know how much they agreed, by the way. I'll just put that out there. 60-game season. Do you think it's worth it or not? And I'm wondering, I have always been about lowering the game amounts that they have each and every year. 160 some odd games to me is ludicrous. Now, that's to me, though. I'm a little bit different. So there are some that are out there that are huge, and ready to go. I know what you're doing. I see that. But Major League Baseball, is this, I don't need these right now. Is that something that you're impressed with? I'll put it out there. As much as I think 160 games are too much, I don't think 60 is enough. And I get that it has to be abbreviated season. I completely get it. But I don't know how thrilled I am about it. I don't know how much I can get into it. Now, those that think those games are a little bit too long, those that think that there are too many games, this might be right up their alley. Fantasy baseball players, this is a little bit weird. I'm going to try to get in Lenny Melnick the next time that we're up on air and talk about how this is going to affect the fantasy world. If you're a fantasy baseball player, how does this affect how you're going to go about drafting your team? A lot of people have already drafted their team. So I don't know how that, or are they going to redraft? Some fantasy leagues are going to redraft. And I don't know how much of the redraft or how that whole thing works, because I've gotten out of the fantasy side of this, but I can see how this really affects it. But I'm going to go back to the fact that they dropped the ball up on this a long time ago. I mean, completely messed it up. This whole thing should have been taken care of. There could have been about 80 or 90 games, which is right where I think it needs to be. I think 100 games are good. But 160 I don't. But I'm not vested in baseball as much as I used to be as a little boy and a young man. I used to love baseball. Now, the good thing is that the stadium here in Arlington for the Texas Rangers is now an indoor facility. I was there at that facility for my daughter's graduation, and I will tell you that is a great location. That is a great place to check out a game or whatever the case may be. So if you're in the area, you might as well do it. Now, some good news about the Couch Potato Sports Show comes from our streaming side of this, okay? Meaning that it has made it better for those that have to be on their cell phones. It has made it better for those that can't get on a wireless, but they only have the internet for their telephone. So, that being...
Oh, you didn't know? Your ass better call somebody!
It's Cuervo! Let's bring him on in as he's actually driving, and he's going to be off as soon as there it is. There he is. It's Cuervo. You're off to the side, but I can at least see you. So, always good to see Cuervo here on the show. Busy yesterday, I'm assuming, so that's the reason why we're doing this. How are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing well, Sonny. How you been? I see you got your coffee. You're ready to go.
Yep, got the coffee. Got the new background right here. This is, the new Couch Potato studio right here. So we're working on some things to improve the show in the way that it looks. So, but always good to see you, my friend. Now, before we get too much further, we haven't had you on the show. You've been a busy man. So that being said, I wanted to talk a little bit about a couple things before the obvious news. We all know what the obvious news here is. So hopefully you can hear what's going on. I'm going to put the announcement from the NFL because I wanted to get your take on Roger Goodell and his announcement.
It has been a difficult time for our country, in particular, Black people in our country. First, my condolences to the families of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, and all the families who have endured police brutality. We, the National Football League, condemn racism and the systematic oppression of Black people. We, the National Football League, admit we were wrong for not listening to NFL players earlier and encourage all to speak out and peacefully protest. We, the National Football League, believe Black Lives Matter. I personally protest with you and want to be part of the much needed change in this country. Without black players, there would be no National Football League. And the protests around the country are emblematic of the centuries of silence, inequality, and oppression of black players, coaches, fans, and staff. We are listening. I am listening. And I will be reaching out to players who have raised their voices and others on how we can improve and go forward for a better and more united NFL family.
All right, Cuervo, you got it. You heard it. You heard it from the commissioner of the NFL. My question is why did it take 4 years to get to this point?
I mean, I think that's the question everybody's asking, Sonny. I mean, what's so different now than what it is, 4 years ago, like you said? And to be quite honest, since that's what we do on the show, I think it's finally starting to the truth of what Colin Kaepernick was saying, what he was standing for. People are starting to now realize what it was truly about. And some people may agree with that. Some people may disagree with that. But I think that the NFL, what they're really admitting is, man, we should have stood by this guy a little bit more. We could have had a better approach to this a long time ago. And we could have been a lot more proactive with as far as some type of movement, because the NFL, let's be honest, at least here in the United States, the NFL has a very strong, very loud voice amongst Americans, because most Americans love football. And I think the NFL really, they really missed out on a huge opportunity for a movement that Colin was trying to start, and the NFL didn't want to hear it. But now that things have become what they have, I think the NFL is admitting to the mistake of not listening to his words before and the opportunities they could have had. So I think that's what the NFL is really apologizing for or admitting to.
Well, the thing that I took from the announcement, the thing I took from the video, and maybe it's me and maybe it's not. I don't know how sincere it was. I mean, I'll put it out. Maybe I'm a pessimist. I've been accused of it, Cuervo. Sonny's a pessimist. He doesn't, he doesn't look at any good side of it. But when I heard the way that he read it, boy, you could hear the monotone in his voice. You could see that he was reading a script. And I think that's what bothers me about the whole thing. It reminded me, go back a couple of years when Peyton Manning was drafted and then one Ryan Leaf was behind it, reading a actual written out statement. And that's what drove me nuts about the whole thing.
Well, yeah, I mean, that if you want to get into that, absolutely. It was a written statement. It was.
Do you believe him?
However you want to say. I don't think he really. Do I feel he wholeheartedly meant what he was saying? No, but does he think he was saying the right things and he thinks he did the right thing? Yeah, he does. But does he mean it? Not really. I mean, if it's
now, is that because of the NFL? Is that because the ownership of the NFL? Is that Roger Goodell? I'm one that believes that if they really wanted to touch on this, they would have done this 4 years ago when Colin Kaepernick brought it up. That's number one. Number two, if this was really something that the NFL was going to be doing, we have had many, many days since Colin Kaepernick started this. And guess what? Nothing had happened during that time. So, I look at the whole situation. There have been many opportunities to do exactly what they are. There is a lot of pressure to answer to this. And that's my problem with the whole thing. When you are forced to do something because the bottom line is going to be affected.
Well, yeah. And the other thing, too, is when you're forced to do something, you don't truly
believe it.
I don't truly believe that you're expressing your true opinion. And the things that you're saying, you're just trying to be, either you're being politically correct or you're just not saying what you truly want to say.
Yep.
And so that's why I think, you asked the question of, do I believe him? I mean, I believe he's saying the right things, but is he saying it for the right reasons?
Yep.
No.
Good point.
No. I don't think so.
Good point. So as we can see, he's out and about. He is doing things. Are you like clean? Are you getting a car wash and everything? You vacuuming out the car and everything?
No. I'm actually I'm looking for some postage stamps. I got to go to the mailbox and drop some stuff off real quick. So I'm looking for my stamps I normally have in my car, and here they are.
There they are. I got one in my car, so I think everybody does that. So always good to have you on. And by the way, now before we get to the big news, I received a lot of emails about a show a couple of days ago, or a couple of weeks ago, and you were unavailable to be there. And I said. And the subject was the NFC North. Now, we all know who's in the NFC North. You have the Detroit Lions. You have the Minnesota Vikings. You have the Green Bay Packers. And, of course, you have your Chicago Bears. And, I posed the question out there, who's the quarterback of the Chicago Bears?
Who is the quarterback?
That's what
going to start?
No. Who is the quarterback of the Chicago Bears?
Well, the quarterback of the Chicago Bears is Mitch Trubisky. Now, if you're asking me who do I think should be the starter for the Chicago Bears, you might get a different answer.
Right. And what is the thing that they always say, at least on the college level? Cuervo, when you have two starting quarterbacks, you don't have any.
None.
You don't have any, man.
Yep.
And as a closet Chicago Bear fan, you are a big Chicago Bear fan. The question I have for you, how do you feel about going into the 2020 season, if it's going to be there? And then we'll talk a little bit about that as well. How do you feel about the season that is upcoming?
Well, I'm feeling a little
for the Bears anyway.
Okay, for just the Bears. I mean, I feel a little bit better because I think Foles is going to wind up being the starter. And I think I have a little more confidence in his ability than I do Mitch.
Is that because he has this thing that's on his finger?
Well, that's part of it. But I think the other thing, too, is that he knows Matt Nagy's offense, and he can run it. He's done it before. When Nagy was in Philadelphia, so he's done it before, and I don't really see. I mean, yeah, obviously the personnel is a little different, but I think with the roster that the Bears have on offense, I think you can make it work. They might not be explosive, scoring 35 points a game. Do I think they can score 24 points a game? Yeah, I think they could pull that off. And so, but
24. So you're saying at least 3 touchdowns a game. Now, is that with Nick Foles at the quarterback, or is that with Mitchell Trubisky? Because I'm going to tell you right now, at best, Mitchell Trubisky only gives them 17 points.
Yes. No, I agree. That's why I'm saying 24 with Nick, 17 with Mitch.
Definitely. I think we're on the same page because I'm worried about the Bears because of where they are. Now their defense is going to be out of sight. There is absolutely no question about that. I don't think that that's even anything that anybody will question. The defense will be there because of the personnel and because what's going on. But if you're tripping over your jock every single time you're getting out on the football field offensively, they got to find that thing that makes them tick. And right now, when you look at it, you don't even know what makes this offense ticks because in reality, you don't have first of all, you don't have your quarterback. And second of all, the questions at the wide receiver position is huge as well. The running game has always been a question in Chicago since the loss of Walter Payton, and because they haven't had a running game since. So the simple fact of the matter is when you look at the Chicago Bears offense, you can only grade them at a C plus, maybe just a C. This is an average offense. And when you got the explosive offense that can happen in Green Bay, or if Kirk Cousins decides that he wants to be a consistent quarterback and win football games, that's going to be huge. And you never know what's going to happen with Matthew Stafford if he's going to hit his tight ends or his other wide receivers. I think this is going to be an interesting division of football this season, if there is a season, and I think you really got to watch out right now for one team in particular. And I'm going to put it out there. I think that the Detroit Lions are going to be a tough football team because they were getting better at about mid-season and slowly improving. And if they can continue on that, I'm not saying they're going to win the division, but I'm saying your Chicago Bears are probably in a big fight with the Lions if they're going to try to, if one of those two teams is going to get a wild card spot.
No, yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I think Detroit made some good moves in the offseason. Darius Slay was a huge loss.
Big loss, though.
I think drafting Jeff Okudah out of Ohio State was just the right guy to replace him. And obviously, you're getting a rookie contract with him as opposed to having to pay big bucks to Darius Slay. So I think Detroit saved a lot of money, and they might get the same type of production from a rookie corner. The other thing too, they draft DeAndre Swift at running back from Georgia. He's one of those little agile type guys that I think is going to be a nightmare for the defenses within the division. So Detroit's making some good. I do think they need to get better at wide receiver.
They do,
but I do think that if as long as Matthew Stafford gets the protection he needs, and we can say that about all 32 quarterbacks, so I think that's a blanketed statement. But for him specifically, he gets sacked quite often. But you do that, you get them a nice weapon outside of the tight ends, and I think that Detroit's going to be a team that is going to be tough to beat, like you said, because the defense is there.
Yes.
With Matt Patricia as the head coach, Sonny, you don't have to worry too much about the defense. But offensively, just over time, it just kind of fizzled away a little bit, starting with obviously the retirement of Calvin Johnson 5 years ago.
Oh, yeah, and they haven't really been the same. That's absolutely true. But at the same time, and mainly more the fact is maybe not even getting Calvin Johnson the ball, but they really lost the red herring in reality, because you always have to worry about a Calvin Johnson. You can't have a game go by with Calvin Johnson on the roster where you don't have to worry about him. Now he's not there. Someone else needs to step up in that role. You're absolutely right. And getting back to Mitchell Trubisky, this is what he says, this is the business we're in. He's been motivated since the season ended last year. I don't feel like it went the way that we wanted to, and we left a lot out there. But I'm excited for this year. I think it's going to be a good competition. Now, obviously, Cuervo is saying the right things because obviously shaking the boat and rocking the boat is not the things that he needs to do right now. He's got to be shown as a team player, and if that team player gets him to be the starter, then so be it. But when I think about Mitchell Trubisky and the line that he put out there, there was a lot left out there last year. I don't think that there was – I think there was more than a lot. There were many, many missed opportunities out on the football field, especially when they got on the opponent's other side of the 50 and coming away with no points because of bad decisions, bad play calling. And that's another thing. The play calling, when they seemed to get close, it just seemed to went away from 2 years ago. So I'm worried about the play calling as well.
Oh, hey, Sonny, you're talking to a diehard Chicago Bear fan here. I'm terrified. What killed me was, the Bears finished 8-8 last year.
Yep.
If I remember right. Yeah, I think 8-8. They could have easily. Hey, I got the mic right there. I'm gonna make it look like I'm talking into the mic. It was there. I'm gonna make it look like I'm talking to this mic.
There you go.
Yeah. it could have easily went from 8-8 to probably 10-6, and
Yes.
maybe even 11-5.
3 games out there that were lost because of bad decisions and offensive play calling.
Well, and the thing is red zone opportunities.
Yep.
Like you said, the play calling, took a crap, and they reverted away from what was working for them 2 years ago. I think now, with David Montgomery at running back, he's not a rookie anymore. He's got a feel for the pace of the game a little bit better. You got Tariq Cohen. You got what's gonna hurt to me is offensive line wise. I think that's what you got to worry about with protection. But you get Jimmy Graham at tight end. You've got Allen Robinson out on the wide, at wide out. So I mean, I'm not saying it's a high powered offense, but I think if they make the right calls in the red zone, they could very easily be a 24 points per game football team.
By the way, I'm not laughing at your analysis. I am laughing at someone that is right there. He's got his MAGA hat on. That's Brian Tarvin. Brian Tarvin, the good old boy.
Okay.
What's going on, guys?
How you doing, Brian? Good. Always good to see you, my friend,
Where's
even with that ugly hat. Even with that ugly hat.
This is a joke, actually. I bought this to piss my wife off.
You gotta love it. You gotta love it. All right, guys, since I got you all 3 here, guess what? The big news, there it is. Whoop, wrong button. This button right here. There he is.
Oh.
There he is, Brian Tarvin. Your hero is going to be a New England Patriot for the 2020 season if it's up and coming. That being said, now, obviously, this is a football team that has always won the AFC West. There's going to be a little bit of challenge with Sam Darnold being a pretty good quarterback, getting better and improving year in, year out, using his legs as well. How do you feel about your buddy, your pal, your superhero heading to New England?
Well, there's one thing that that I think I predicted, if you guys remember correctly. It was either Chicago or New England. I think it's a good move by New England with Stidham there, unproven. But let's think of this. What a slap in the face is it to get the league minimum from Cam Newton, one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL, taking the league minimum. Just like Sherman said, when you have a bunch of backups that making millions a year, they couldn't hold Cam Newton's jock.
Mm-hmm.
And here he is making the league minimum. And I believe, tell me if I'm wrong, I believe he got paid from Carolina leaving. I think they gave him money.
Yeah, they had to continue paying the guaranteed money that was going through the contract that he signed the last time he was there. So that guaranteed money, it's going to be a little bit of a cap hit for them, but not much. So that's the reason why they were always in the running to always get rid of them. So because it wasn't a cap casualty that went there. But I mean, so Cuervo, you heard the big news. Cam Newton coming out. He is going to be a New England Patriot. How does that put the New England Patriots as far as the division is concerned? I'm not worried about what they're going to do if and when they make the playoffs. Where are they in the division? Are they now the new favorite, or do you have to worry about Sam Darnold and company?
No, I mean, I think they're still the favorite. Because here's the deal. You still have, to me, the biggest factor. I mean, and not to take anything away from Tom Brady. I think we all can make the argument that he is the GOAT. He is the greatest quarterback to ever play this game. But when you still have Bill Belichick as the head coach, he will find a way. He will find a way to make Cam successful in New England. And that's what you have to think about is you forget about what he did in Carolina. It doesn't matter anymore. Forget about his stats. Forget about his accomplishments. Because guess what? When you come to New England, it's a whole nother ball game. So to me, I think I think you forget about all that stuff and you forget about his gameplay in Carolina, and we just wait and we see how Bill Belichick is gonna, the master plan that him and Josh McDaniels are gonna. Is he still the OC? Whoever the OC is for the New England Patriots.
I believe so.
He's still there.
And guys, can we agree that this is an upgrade for the New England Patriots over a 41-year-old Tom Brady? I mean, Bill Belichick's never had a quarterback that can run the football. Like Cam can. So the offense has changed, the dynamics have changed. And Stidham, I'm not forgetting about him either. Stidham's a damn good passing quarterback too, probably more accurate than Cam is. But I think this is an upgrade for New England. Given their defense, I think pretty stout. They have a running game. I think having Cam's ability to run the football is an upgrade in this day and age of football. It's a true upgrade. Bill Belichick's the greatest mind in football. He got one of the top tier quarterbacks for $1 million a year. So Tom Brady will go to Tampa and they'll finish 6-10. And you'll never hear about him again. But what if Cam leads these guys to the AFC Championship game? What if he wins a Super Bowl? Something Brady couldn't do with his team right now at his age.
I don't know how much of an upgrade that I think it is. I really don't. We're talking about a guy who hasn't been out on the football field for a year and a half now. We also talk about some of the other quarterbacks that haven't been out on the football field for a long time. How much, and will he be, the injury situation, changing of conferences, going from the NFC to the AFC, I think is something that's been really kind of completely overlooked. But you want to talk about the best division of football to go in, obviously with the coaching situation that's going on over there. That's huge. And second, you think about the type of offense that they can run. I get it. But believe me, if I'm in New England, I want Tom Brady over Cam Newton regardless. So I don't know how much of an upgrade I would say that it is, Cuervo. I got a shaking of the head there from Tarvin, but I don't know how much of an upgrade it is. So Cuervo, is it an upgrade?
I mean, I don't know if that it's. I don't want to say that it's an upgrade, but I think it kind of goes back to what Tarvin was saying, is that I think it adds another dynamic to what New England can do now offensively, just because the fact that Cam is a lot more mobile than Tom Brady is. So I think in that sense, as far as play calling and what they're able to do, creativity wise, yeah, I think it is an upgrade. But as far as actual production goes, I'm gonna say no.
I think it's Tarvin, I think maybe it was the best thing that was out there maybe as of right now. So the right move was done. But as far as an upgrade, if you're in New England, who would you rather have right now, Tom Brady or Cam Newton? I don't think it's a question. It's got to be Tom Brady.
No, hell no.
The history that's there, the history between the head coach and you're getting a guy that's coming off. Let's be honest, the guy's a diva, and if he's going to learn anything on how to be a professional quarterback in the NFL, he's going to get it from Bill Belichick. But the question is, will he be able to learn from him?
That's a great question. I mean, I was about to bring that up before you did. I'm interested to see. Now, look, Cam's always been about Cam.
Yes.
When you look at Cam, he celebrates, he does all this stuff. I think that'll be toned down a little bit, but I think all of this experience, the injuries, the benching, the getting cut, has humbled this man. If it hasn't, he'll never be humbled. This is a chance. I mean, he's still not young, but he's still got 5 years left easy in the NFL. If he comes out this year and shows that he can be a team player, he can win, and he can put the team ahead of himself, then I think it makes him very attractive for another team. I don't think he'll be with New England more than a year, but I think if he comes and makes the playoffs, he does a good job, he keeps his head down, doesn't get in any trouble, he'll sign a pretty decent sized deal with a team in need of a starting quarterback in 2023 22 season, I guess you would say, 21 season. But look, you got Brady. He's washed up. Let's go ahead and admit it. I mean, he
Well, I
couldn't even
can't
beat
admit
the
that. I
Titans.
mean, he's the
He
Super
couldn't
Bowl
beat the Titans
quarterback. I
last
can't admit
year.
that.
He couldn't beat the Titans last year. He couldn't even beat the sorry Titans at home.
Okay, that's you're talking about one game card. When you look at Tom Brady, you
I'm
can't
talking about the
judge Tom
season.
Brady on one football game. And
No.
not only that, it wasn't his fault they lost that football game.
Yes, it was. He was the
Nah.
quarterback. He was a quarterback. No, but I'm saying this. But I'm saying this. You saw. I mean, you know trends and numbers. If Brady came back to New England this year, they're in that shitty division. They're a 9-7 team probably.
Yeah,
They're
but
gonna
they
get
win the
to playoffs.
division. They win
Yeah,
the
but they
division.
get skull drugged by Kansas City when they played them. I mean, it's
Well,
just going to happen.
Now, I'm not going to argue that point. I mean, because obviously, look at the quarterback and the way that it's working. Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the NFL today. And if you think it's somebody else, you're wrong. I just lost Cuervo. He might be coming back. But I'm going to tell you right now, that is that whole division of football, has changed dramatically in reality without Tom Brady there. But that doesn't mean that whoever's going to go in once Cam Newton is they're gonna take that whole division.
Right.
You still have Sam Darnold and Josh Allen, and even though those are up and comers and they haven't really proved themselves, guess what? These guys are moving in year 3 and year 4 of their years. This is where those guys, if they're going to be any good, they're going to take that step forward. They're going to move forward and be that team to maybe try to dethrone the New England Patriots.
But what I worry about, Sonny, is with Cam Newton, will they take the leash off and allow him to run? Will
That's a
Cam
good point.
want to run with the injuries? If Cam's just a quarterback in the pocket and everything, I would put Jarrett Stidham in there, honestly, like a younger guy. And if Cam's able to run and they'll allow him to, I think he's got a good chance to be successful, and I think it would be an upgrade. But if you put him back in the pocket, I'm not saying he's better than Tom Brady as a quarterback mentally. Even I think his arm strength's a little better, but accuracy does matter.
Yes.
But if you look at that Patriot team, they don't have a lot of weapons. They have a receiver too, which scares me a little bit.
That's the biggest point, because Tom Brady makes superstars out of nobody, and Cam Newton hasn't been able to do that. That's going to end. Before we have another person with us, but before I get there, got to remember, when you think about Cam Newton, I will give Cam Newton this. As many hits as this guy has taken, this guy has been durable before he got hurt. Okay. Thinking about, the type of offense that they run, that run heavy style with the secondary in reality within the first part of his career, then throwing the football second. Now that they're working on keeping him in the pocket, but you got to understand this, the injuries that this guy has had. He suffered ligament and cartilage damage in his right knee, so that is huge, and that was in January playoff loss at New Orleans. And then the team hasn't had much other than Newton in reality, but they can't avoid surgery with this guy. They're continuing to cut on this guy. But in reality, when you think about it, when Cam was back, no one seemed concerned about it until that shoulder injury as well. So you had a combination of shoulder injury. Then you had the knee problem. Then you had the foot problem, which you never seen. You didn't see him last year, so the injuries are going to be there. And Jonathan, I have Jonathan who joined us. Good to see you, my friend. Thanks for joining us this morning. What do you think about the idea of Cam Newton? Does Cam Newton make the New England Patriots an automatic, or maybe the front runners in the AFC East?
I mean, they're the front runners in the AFC East for certain. I mean, does anybody actually think Buffalo's good?
I don't think they're any good, but I'm worried about Cam Newton coming back. Look at that hat. You got that ugly. I worry about Cam Newton coming back off of injuries. I worry about Cam Newton not being out on the football field for a whole year and a half in reality, if not longer.
Well, I don't think New England signs him if they don't think he's healthy. I get it's low risk signing. You're getting him for league men, high incentives, but I mean. Sure. Bill's not going to make the move if he's not healthy. And let's not forget that Cam, in all honesty, had his best passing season in 2018. And 2019, we really could have seen him growing on that. His improvement in completion percentage from being somebody in the 50s to almost a 68% mark is massive. And I think that is why Belichick took the shot here. I don't think he's prototypically a Belichick guy, as we've seen. Bill likes quarterbacks who just get the ball out quickly and they're accurate. But Cam's going to have weapons to work with Julian Edelman and N'Keal Harry and Mohamed Sanu out wide. And they just drafted the 2 tight ends in the 3rd round this year. And they have an insane stable of running backs. It's not like he's going to be left naked. I think that there's a really good chance that Cam actually, as long as he's healthy, elevates this Patriots offense to the best levels it's been since 2016, maybe 17. I mean, because everybody forgets that this Patriots offense led by Brady really hasn't been that good. It wasn't that long ago they won a Super Bowl 13-3 because of, bad offense more than good defense.
Yeah, I think when I think about what's going on, and I think about who's at the quarterback position in New England right now. Of course, Brian Hoyer, Jamar Smith, and then Brian Lukey, which I've never, Lewicki, however you say it. This is and Jared Stidham to a certain point I like, but in reality, I do like Cam Newton better than all of those because of the experience more so than anything. Brian Hoyer sucks. I don't care how much experience that guy has. So when I think about what's going on as far as New England, this is definitely the right move as far as what was available. There was a lot of other stuff available earlier. They didn't decide to move on it, or they were going to go ahead and stick hard with Stidham. But at the same time, I think the Patriots, realize what this division is, even without Tom Brady in it. It's winnable. And that's the reason why this move was made. I think you're right, Tarvin. This move was to get them to the playoffs in reality. You don't want to go in there with a rookie quarterback in this weak division, depending on whether or not the Bills, with Josh Allen or Sam Darnold don't take that step into being good quarterbacks like they usually do in year 3 and 4 for some of them. So this move had to be made as far as experience to at least make the playoffs, whether it's the wild card, winning the division, playing on wild card Saturday or Sunday, or if they can run the table and everything. They still have got the and let's face it, the Miami Dolphins are nothing to write home to mama about. They made the big mistake by not replacing the not the quarterback, but the head coach.
Hey Sonny, you know Cam Newton's used to playing in a division with Drew Brees, Matt Ryan, Jameis Winston, those type of quarterbacks. You look at this division. I mean, and I want you to ask Jonathan, and we'll ask him. Jonathan, do you think this is an upgrade? Do you think Cam Newton is an upgrade right now versus Tom Brady in New England? If you had to choose right now in New England, would you rather have a Cam Newton that could run the football, or would you rather have Brady back? Because Brady couldn't even beat the Tennessee Titans in a playoff game at home last year. I don't think it's going to improve much with Brady. That's what my argument was. Just interested to see what your argument is or what your opinion is.
I mean, if Cam Newton was healthy, I'd rather the Bucs signed him than Brady.
But if both of them, if both of them are there right now, who do you think has the advantage in that division of football?
I mean, I think the Bucs' problems are a little deeper than just quarterback. But I mean, look, if Cam's in look with Brady in Tampa, the Bucs are running second to Seattle or New Orleans. Good God. If Cam's in Tampa, the Bucs are running second to New Orleans. That doesn't change. But I think if you look at the Patriots, I think if Brady was still in New England, we'd be talking about another 11-5 season. We'd be talking about another wild card weekend. With Cam, I think I really knowing obviously that Baltimore and Kansas City are two excellent teams. We expect them to have great seasons again. And the fun thing is that these three teams have their own little round robin because they all play each other this year. But with Cam, I think New England can actually be 12-4, 13-3, get a bye week. Wow. He is a much more dynamic athlete. He actually has the arm strength to throw outside the hashes. Cam's biggest issue has always been accuracy over the middle in all reality.
That's a big point.
I mean, if he sails the ball way too much over the middle. The great thing about the way this offense is going to work, most of his stuff over the middle is going to be 5 yards because Edelman doesn't really run that deep. So, and he's going to love having N'Keal Harry because it's a receiver that he can't overthrow. One thing Carolina never truly gave him was a receiver he couldn't overthrow.
Good point.
Now, so he already has more receiver talent in New England than he ever had in Carolina. I mean, I think this is a great move for Cam. I was hesitant just because Belichick seemed to he prefers a quarterback just gets rid of the ball quickly, and Cam, like most dual threat quarterbacks, has a habit of holding onto the ball a little too long. But I think this can work for both parties in the long run. But I'm not talking about a Super Bowl, but I think a division championship, maybe a bye week, is definitely in the cards.
Hey, Sonny, can I bring something up real quick?
Sure.
I think this season is Cam has built his case, and Sonny, you and I probably agree on this. The NFL will be paying Cam Newton for the rest of his life. Having to sign the league minimum like this and do it, it's because of these shitty ass officials from the NFL allowing him to be abused, and it's really because of the color of his skin. And it's because of the size of him. They have discriminated against Cam Newton. And I want to see Black Lives Matter there to make sure they push this through. I want to see Cam Newton get paid for the rest of his life.
He's been the most punished quarterback on not getting a flag thrown in the NFL and possibly NFL history. And listen, I'm not a Cam Newton fan, but, that one jumps out big time. Yes, early in his career, he deserved everything that he got. But the last few years, he has not been getting the flags. The last few years, he's been that pocket quarterback. And the fact is simple. It is. When he's playing the pocket, the fact that he could take off is definitely in the minds of the officials. That's the reason why they held on to the flag. And Cuervo, when you look at Cam Newton and the type of dynamics that he brings to it, that he can run at any given moment, I think that is the reason why the flags are staying in the pockets of the officials.
Well, I mean, yes, but at the same time, I get the point of him being discriminated a little bit. I just think it's not consistent. Like, some guys get more flags than others, and to me, I don't think it's not even playing field across the board. Like I said, some guys that are more mobile get favored a little bit more than others, and I don't know. I'm not going to say that it's a race thing, but I am going to say that it's not fair across the board.
I think Winston gets killed a lot too, Jonathan. I think Jameis Winston takes some hits too that I don't see that flag coming in a lot, and he's not a dual threat.
Jameis holds on to the ball too long, and if we're being completely honest, he's done a couple things off the field that, if you have a daughter, maybe you let him take an extra shot or two.
Yeah, but that's not right, though. Yeah, but that's not. I know it's human nature, but that's not right. That's
no. Well, I mean, look, Ben Roethlisberger took a lot. Used to take a bunch of shots. Still takes a lot of shots, just because they hold on to the ball so long and they're so big that sometimes they take a hit and nobody thinks it's really much of anything. And I think part of the problem, and we see this especially, I know. Maybe one of you watches. Well, no, Sonny. I don't think Sonny watches hockey. But
Sonny loves some hockey.
All right, so I've got 2 out of 3 on here with Cuervo. That's the difference between the San Jose Vegas first round series.
Good point. I get exactly where you're going.
Yeah, if Pavelski's not laying on the ice bleeding out of his mouth, it's a 2-minute penalty. San Jose never has a 5-minute power play. And we move on. So there is that inherent bias of how bad a hit looks. And if Lamar Jackson and Ben Roethlisberger take the same hit from Von Miller, Lamar Jackson flies 15 feet. Ben Roethlisberger's still standing.
Yes.
So they're not going to throw the flag. I think that's the difference, is because Cam's built so big.
Yeah, they're durable.
Built so big, and Jameis is built so big. They can take those hits, so they're less hesitant to throw those flags. Do I think Cam has gotten a bad bum rap out of this? to an extent, but I don't think it's much different than what Dante Culpepper faced. And if you remember, Dante Culpepper was very similar in size and playing style. The difference is Cam complains more than Dante did. Dante understood, I run so damn much that I'm going to take some hits. This is, 20 years ago when they used to just level quarterbacks for grins. Whereas, now Cam is
the difference between Dante Culpepper is he sucked. Cam Newton doesn't suck. Okay, so
Dante was good for 4 years. Give me 4 years.
Cam can
Give
run.
me 4 years with
Cam
Randy
can
Moss.
run. But, I mean, you've never seen besides, and I'll say there's never been a better quarterback than Vic running the football, but Cam Newton's the best running quarterback in the NFL history besides Michael Vick. I'll always have him number one. Culpepper, I don't remember him running the ball. Do you?
Oh, yeah.
No, Culpepper did run the ball quite a bit. But the problem is that he was in Minnesota for a long time. It was Minnesota, right? I think he was in Minnesota. And that was really a predominantly throwing football team. So when he came in, he just blew the offense completely off of the wall because they weren't used to this guy. They weren't used to what they could have with a Dante Culpepper. So when he did go off script and when he did, and he did often, by the way, which was one of the complaints about him, that he wouldn't listen to coaches. He wouldn't do what coaches would want him to do. So, yeah, Dante Culpepper, I think in reality, if he was on a different team, I think he could have had a better career. That was more open to the style of football that he can bring to him. But the Minnesota Vikings, they are pocket passing quarterback. Keep your ass there. And I think that's where you can see the difference. But, right now, Cam Newton and where he is as far as his part, where he's going to be moving forward with the Patriots in reality, I think what has got to happen is a come to Jesus. In reality, we kind of briefly talked about it with Bill Belichick and him getting on the same page. Because if he's not going to be on the same page, that's going to be a problem, moving forward, especially in the 2020 season, which this is a test. I mean, mark that. This is not a test of the weather thing. No, this is a test to see if he can be a Patriot quarterback for more than 1 year or 2 years. So, thinking of that.
Sonny, Cam Newton thrives on being an underdog, and when you put him down, you piss him off. Ask Alabama and Tuscaloosa, anybody. When his back's against the wall, he's going to come out fighting. Fresh legs. He's going to be healthy. He's pissed off that he's got the league minimum. He took this deal to come out and put a middle finger up to the United States and tell them that, hey, I'm Cam Newton, bow bitches. And that's what you're going to see in this season.
There's one reason why he took this deal, and that's the one reason I think Dak Prescott took his deal. And I don't think I hate to say this. I don't think there's going to be a season, and if it is, it's going to be shortened. I think we're in a very, very different world today. I think football's in a lot of trouble. I don't know if they're going to actually hit the field, and if they do, it's going to be late. So that'll be a big difference.
Sonny, do you know the death rate was low as over the
Don't
last
care about the death rate. I get what you're talking about, the death rate, but the problem is liability. And listen, the NFL in reality, when you think about what's going on, they're going to be looking out for their bottom line. That's liability. That's their ass.
If they cancel the season, their fucking liability is gone. They're not going to have any money.
Well, they're going to lose $3 billion, and that's chump change in reality. I read someplace if they don't do this, it's going to cost them $3 billion, and that's chump change in reality. Go ahead, Jonathan.
If they don't play, it costs them $7 billion because they made $7 billion. If they play without fans, they could lose up to $3 billion, which is whatever. Okay. But I mean, we talk about liability. This is the same league that has pretty good insurance and health coverage plans for its players because they their ACLs. I mean, like I don't think any of the players are concerned. Look, this isn't baseball. Okay, football players are a lot like hockey players. They're not like basketball and baseball players. Football and hockey players realize I want to play. I like playing. I like getting paid, and whatever order those are ranked depends on which guys you deal with.
I think paid. I think they like getting paid.
Well, yeah,
because they want to get paid.
Oh, there's no question.
Playing. And they're going to sit there and say, well, hell, if I'm likely to test positive no matter what, which at this point everybody's going to do it, herd immunity, told y'all. Like, if I'm going to pop pot, I might as well pop pot playing football. Like, why? Like, I might as well pop pot getting played. I don't want to be one of those guys at home getting unemployed. Because football players just watch baseball. Just watch the baseball players said, I don't want to be that. And the NFL doesn't want to be that. They're going to play. College football is going to play. They've got to play football. If they don't play football, this country might just fracture into a billion pieces. I'm terrified of that.
We're playing football, guys. We're playing football, guys. It's just, here's the deal. Even, I don't want to get into the season. Oh, Joe Blow tested positive. Let's put his ass in a cave for 2 weeks. Look, when you get the flu, what happens in football? You keep playing. You play with the flu. Look at Jordan's best game was with the flu. Let's ignore the shit.
Food poisoning.
If you're old, look, here's the deal. I've got it. Look, if you're old, if you're a referee that's not, just stay the hell at home. Everybody else get back to life. It's time for Clemson had like 50 players test positive and none of them had a symptom. So, I mean, herd immunity is the only way we can defeat this. I'm not taking the vaccine. Most people won't either. But the cure is get your ass to work.
Well,
that's the cure for COVID-19.
I'm going to tell you right now. Dak Prescott goes ahead, and I was just going to Cuervo, so bring your barriers. This past week, Dak Prescott signs the offer sheet as far as franchise is concerned. They had until July 15th to figure this out, and he could have signed it on July 15th. Something tells me that with the signing of Dak Prescott for that amount of money, which is guaranteed whether they play or not, that is the huge thing. So be under no mistake. That contract that Dak Prescott signs, that's with if they don't have any football games. And they still had 2 more weeks to solidify this contract that he would sign the money that he wanted. Something is telling me in the back of my mind, his man, listen, Cuervo, his agent isn't stupid. So I guess the question is with the signing of Dak Prescott, conspiracy couches coming to mind here. I think the 2020 season's in a lot of trouble. I shot that to you, Cuervo, if you can hear me.
So, yeah, I can hear you, Sonny. I mean, so maybe like, I don't know if I want to call it insurance policy, but I mean, go get your money while you can.
Yeah, and get paid if they don't play.
Right. So, I mean, I guess how much of that is guaranteed out of that?
All of it.
31, 32 million. Every single penny.
$31.5 million. Every penny goes in his pocket, and that's even if they don't play. And that was the huge thing to me. Why is this guy signing? And the time he signed, they still had 3 weeks to figure out the long-term contract. So this to me, it's not the fact, and not only that, he goes into next year, okay, with a possible franchise tag of $37.5 million. So he's got the best of both worlds in reality. So when everybody was saying that the Dallas Cowboys had the leverage, I got news for you. The leverage was on Dak Prescott because the money is going to go in his pocket whether they play or not. Now they better figure it out. They don't want him playing underneath the tag right now. Jonathan, you look confused on what I'm saying, but I don't think they want Dak Prescott playing up underneath this tag.
Oh no, I wasn't confused. I just read that the Cowboys and Prescott have until July 15th.
Yep.
To work out an extension, but essentially they couldn't work out the extension until they agreed to the tag. So now that they've agreed to the tag, there's a belief that they might actually have positive headway and extension and get one done before the 15th. I mean, this is a tactic we've seen before. It's the same tactic that the Bucs are doing Shaq Barrett right now, where he's like, I don't know if I'm going to sign, but I want a long-term deal.
Kirk Cousins been living on that tag forever before he signed that deal up in Minnesota.
Yeah, well, I mean, but that's Kirk Cousins' own problem. And also, like, man, when you're guaranteed $30 million in a season, it's hard for me to feel bad for you.
Oh no, I don't feel bad for Dak Prescott. Let's go to that point. I don't feel bad. This was a great business move in reality.
Oh yeah.
But something tells me that they had 3 weeks. They had 3 weeks, to figure this out. It wasn't like this was happening tomorrow. And I'm not falling into the fact that, they need time to figure out the long-term contract. This is nothing. Those numbers are already figured out from Dak's agent to Jerry Jones. So I don't think they need time.
How stupid is Jerry Jones to give this C quarterback this kind of money? Jesus. I mean, I just don't understand it, guys. I just can't understand it.
Well,
so maybe COVID got to Jerry Jones and he lost his damn mind. I don't know.
Jerry Jones lost his mind a long time ago, man.
And Cuervo, if you believe what it's saying, if you go looking at the quarterback rate, they got Dak in top 10. So I don't know how you think that he's a C player.
He's not a top 10. He's not a top 10 quarterback.
Oh, he's absolutely a top 10. Absolutely a top 10. So Cuervo.
He's a second tier quarterback, but like you have to realize that the first tier is like 5 people. So
yeah, I was going to say 3, but I get what you're saying. So I'm going to ask Cuervo: is conspiracy couch here? There is something with Dak Prescott signing this contract now compared to 3 weeks from now. I still don't believe the fact they needed time to figure out the long-term contract crap. I don't believe that for 1 second. Do you think that agent knows something everybody else don't know? I gave that to you, Cuervo.
No, I don't think it's necessarily that, Sonny. I to be honest, what I'm thinking is, I think it has more to do with, I think it shook the agent of Dak Prescott with the fact that, because I don't think we've brought it up yet about the Hall of Fame game being canceled. Mm-hmm. And I think that kind of spooked his agent into thinking that there might be a long-term plan to cancel the season. So I think that kind of that might. Well, but it's
the Hall of Fame game. It's different, and not only that was Cowboys Steelers too.
Right. So I think they took it as a sign of, well, if they're canceling that game, well, what if preseason? What if they start canceling, first month of the regular season? Like I think it kind of spooked them. And whether, that was the right call to make to hurry up and get the deal done. I mean, you can debate that all day, but yeah. I think that could be part of the reason why that deal got done because you think about the timing of it. They've had all this time to negotiate and try to make a decision on what they're going to do as far as paying Dak Prescott. And then they turn around and they paid him with that. So, to me, I think it kind of, like I said, I think canceling the Hall of Fame game kind of spooked that agent.
That's a good point.
Yep. Interestingly enough, there's a lot of things going on in the NFL, even with the Dallas Cowboys. And this man right here that I'm putting up, Jamal Adams with the New York Jets, he wants out. At least that's according to what he is saying. So I guess the question is, there's 8 teams that he says that he wants to be a part of. And this goes back to Jerry Jones being stupid. He signed all these guys except Dak Prescott before he actually signed that tag situation. And, I don't know. With the fact that there might not or could not be a season, I don't know if he wants to give out any more of what, is in reality, guaranteed money for a season that might not play and or have preseason. Listen, I don't think the preseason is going to happen. If there's preseason, I think there'll be 1 game, max 2, going into the season. Whenever that kicks off, that's going to be the big question. But, man, if you sign this guy and you do guaranteed money, and there we're kind of losing guys, so I got him back. When you're signing guys and you have a possibility of losing money up underneath guaranteed contracts that are going to be put forth at them, I think this is really, really huge in reality, Jonathan.
I mean, as we saw with baseball, there's a very interesting conversation about what guaranteed money means if there's no money coming in.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, look, you can say an owner's worth $4 billion. None of those owners have $4 billion in liquid capital. Most of them probably don't have $50 million in liquid capital, for being completely honest, because the way they build up their net worth is investing, reinvesting. Most of their net worth comes from that sport franchise. Whatever's left probably in real estate, and they've got $1 million sitting in four different banks, kind of. Because United States will only guarantee up $250,000 being insured per bank. So if we're not playing games and everybody's concerned about us not playing games, and we don't play games, then players won't get paid whether they're guaranteed money or not, because the owners are going to look at them and say, we don't have it. Now, the players are going to say, well, you're worth X number of dollars, and the owner's just going to look at them and go, you went to college. Did you skip that part of accounting school? Like did you all just miss that part of the rookie symposium? Did you just completely skip economics? So, I don't think Jerry Jones cares about that. No, what I think Jerry
Jones does.
What Jerry Jones needs to care about, though, is giving away assets for a safety that, yeah, he's pretty good. Don't get me wrong. You're talking about an all-pro safety. But you know what the Cowboys don't need? A safety. They actually have, a decent group there at safety. They don't need to bring in another one. How about, you keep your first-round pick and your third-round pick and La'el Collins, and I don't know, use those draft picks on positions of needs in the upcoming years instead of just Jerry still hasn't figured out that this isn't basketball or baseball. You can't just keep throwing names and money at a problem and think you're going to win and it's going to solve the issues. That's not how
it worked for over 20 years. Cuervo, it hasn't worked for over 20 years, has it?
Sure hasn't. The Cowboy fans still living in the 90s, man. It's crazy.
Big time. Believe I live here, and I know they are. And if you want to see a lot of stupidity, hop on a Dallas Cowboy fan page on Facebook. I'll tell you, you'll get some of the best comedy you'll ever get in your life watching Dallas Cowboy fans. But that's a huge story. Another interesting story I wanted to get Cuervo's take up on, we'll put up on the screen right here. In reality, Josh Gordon, guys, 5 times. This guy has been suspended 5 times, and he applied for reinstatement, and they're going to use the excuse, and I say excuse, with his brother's passing was his excuse and the purpose of his relapse. Josh Gordon coming back to the NFL. Cuervo, has he wore out his welcome? I think he has. I know the guy's got mad talent, but man, 5 times, and you're talking about Tim Tebow hadn't done anything wrong. Guy can't get a shot in the NFL. How many times do you get to screw up when you got that much talent? Cuervo.
Well, I think their situations are different, but that's a whole nother conversation, Sonny. I've been on this show for quite some time. Yep. People that have been watching for a while know that I have been a huge supporter of Josh Gordon. I've always been about, him getting another opportunity. Just because I like to see what he can do on the field.
Yep.
I'm at the point now where I do think he's worn out his stay in the NFL, where I think he has worn out his opportunities because, I'm not saying that I don't feel for him because of what happened, his brother dying and things like that. That's never an easy thing. I mean, losing family is never easy. But to revert back to your ways, I just don't think that that's a valid reason. I'm sorry. I mean, yes, death is death and it sucks, but it's just like, would we forgive an alcoholic for going back to drinking because somebody lost a family member? I think we would not be very forgiving for them too. It's just, I think we're so enamored with what Josh Gordon can do on the field that we were willing to give him so many chances because we just want to see him play. But I think the problem now is that he recognizes that, and he thinks that, well, my talent will get me back on the field because of what I can do.
Good point.
I don't think it's going to work anymore. I think it's done, and teams should. I mean, if you want to blacklist somebody or however you want to call it, put somebody on a do not sign list. Josh Gordon needs to go on that list because he's just going to continue. It's not going to stop. He's been given every opportunity to get help from, rehab programs, other players, people that have gone through these things, and it just nothing's working, man. I'm not saying give up on the guy as a person, but as a football player, no, I wouldn't take that risk.
Jonathan, what do you think about the Josh Gordon situation?
I'm sick of Josh Gordon. I mean, that's the simplest and easiest way to put it. I am sick of him. I am not here for his victim mentality. I am not here for his addiction problems, which is hilarious, by the way, that apparently he's the only person in the world that gets addicted to marijuana. Because everybody else I talk to says you can't get addicted to smoking weed. But this dude's been addicted 4 or 5 times, keeps relapsing into it. And that's a whole nother conversation. I'm sorry. That's just a weird tangential rant. I have nothing against people who want to smoke weed, but I do have problems with people who say they can't get addicted to the thing. But Josh Gordon's talented. I think he's a good ball player. There's no doubt about that. Let's remember that he got kicked out of Baylor, and then he got kicked out of Utah before ever playing a game. This guy has been trouble since he was in high school, right? Yep. So, I mean, he's already gotten a second chance, a third chance, a fourth chance, a fifth chance, a sixth chance. It's over, dude. You blew it. I hope you spent your money on something more than just weed. Because if not, you're going to be homeless. You're going to be Delonte West living on the streets talking about how people held you down. That was your fault, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't, when I remember the first time that this came to issue, we were on air. Cuervo and I were on air. We were all for giving the guy a second chance, even though I'm a little bit, hey, you deserve what you get. But I understand what the reality of the sense is you get those second chances because of who you are. I hate that idea, but it is what it was. So I was okay with it. The second time, I was done with him on the second time because I knew his history. I knew about Baylor. I knew about the situation. I knew about his high school. I knew about all that because guess what? You got the guy doing the same thing over and over. What makes you think that all of a sudden he's going to come down and get struck by lightning and go, oh, yeah, maybe I need to stop this. This is not that guy. This is not that guy. He's never been that guy, and that's the problem. So, when I looked at Josh Gordon, I'd seen his talent. I don't want to even say talent. I seen his opportunity for speed. I seen his opportunity to get the ball deep down the field, which is one of the biggest positions on the football field that if any quarterback needs is they need the guy that with the ability to go deep. That's what I saw in Josh Gordon. That's what I saw his talent was. So when I saw that, I was like, okay, but man, 3, 4, 5, this is the 5th time he's going to ask for it for a 6th time. And if he gets it, it's unbelievable. And it just sends a different message out to everybody. It doesn't matter what you do. You'll always be in consideration of reinstatement in the NFL. And we already know how weak the NFL is when it comes to discipline. We've seen it on many occasions. So, but
yeah. Sonny, can I just interject real quick?
Sure.
Because not that I had anything against what Jonathan was saying, but I just I'm thinking about how I had said what I was saying. I just want to make one thing clear. I don't care if the guy smokes weed 10 times a day. Okay. I could care less. And Jonathan's right. You can't get addicted to weed. You can get hooked on it, as in I enjoy it very, very much, and I like to smoke it all day. But you can't physically get addicted to marijuana. The problem that I have with Josh Gordon is that the dude can't follow simple rules. Dude,
that's it.
If you're going to play in the NFL, you have to, just know that you're going to get tested. That's it. Nobody's saying like, it can never be in your life anymore, that it's bad for you or whatever. But if you want to play in the NFL, there's certain guidelines, there's certain policies, there's certain rules you got to live by. And if you break those rules, don't go scrambling for excuses. Like, it is what if the weed is that important to you, then you're willing to give up football.
Absolutely.
Go smoke weed 10 times a day. Have a good life. Enjoy yourself.
Listen, all you got, what's that show? Playmakers. All you got, the Piss Man is coming. Okay, and he's coming. The Piss Man is coming. So if you want to be that stupid, you can go ahead. I love Jonathan's face. Go ahead, John.
I just want to run down this on Josh Gordon right quick. All right. Do you guys know why he picked Baylor?
Yes.
Because he was on probation.
Yep.
Like, that's why he picked Baylor. So
and what's the name? Our Bryles brought him in talk about a coach that has got a history of making bad decisions on players.
Yeah, but he picked Baylor over like Nebraska, Missouri, and whatnot because he was on probation. So he needed to go to a school in the state of Texas. He got suspended at Baylor. Then he got kicked out of Baylor. Then he got kicked out of Utah. I'm gonna tell you right now, he failed one test in the NFL before he was suspended because they always give him one mulligan, right? And then what? He gets suspended with Cleveland in year 2, gets suspended in year 3, gets suspended in year 4, gets suspended in year 5. I can't with this dude. Like, to be completely honest with you, like, if Josh Gordon were to, I don't know, like, drive off a cliff, I might feel enjoyment from that at this point. Because clearly this dude provides nothing positive to society.
Yes.
And dear God, if he has children, they're going to be the worst kids in the world.
Yeah. He's definitely not the role model you want. And, now granted, we are talking about weed. I get it. And I understand what people are talking about. So there you go. I put that up for you. One of my buddies out there for you, Cuervo. But I'm going to tell you right now. I don't know. No one's going to be able to relate with what I'm going to say right here. Well, maybe. But have you ever had a record player and the thing just keeps skipping back and doing the same line over and over because it's got a skip in it? That's what Josh Gordon is. And I'm sorry, he is a record that keeps skipping and doing the same line over and over until you actually put a penny on the needle so it won't skip. The problem is that the NFL hasn't put enough pennies up on there for him to stop doing what he's doing because he always gets asked back. So in reality, they need to add about 5 more pennies for Josh Gordon. So he's not going to be – it's going to be too heavy. He won't even play the record. So that's what's going on there. But now the other big news that's going on is Colin Kaepernick. Let's be honest. It's a big story. I'm not going to get up on what the story is as far as the social and all the injustice and all that. I want to talk about football. I want to talk about, is this guy capable of playing? Mark Davis gives his blessings to sign him. There's other teams that are out there. According, if you want to believe the reports, there are about 8 teams out there. Pete Carroll says that there's at least one team, and I think he's talking about himself. But my question, I guess I got to ask, because I have been accused of being a jerk. Is anybody really interested in signing Colin Kaepernick based upon his talent? Because you're talking about a guy who hasn't hit the football field in 4 years. Jonathan.
No. I think it's fairly obvious nobody cares to sign Colin Kaepernick because he can throw a football. If that was the case, they would have signed him a couple of years ago. Right now, there's a weird little race. I mean, look, here's the thing. Somebody's going to sign Colin Kaepernick. They're going to get through training camp, realize that he's not better than their backup.
Yep.
And then how do you cut him?
Yep.
You can't cut him.
That's the big one.
He's the uncuttable player. But not only that, but Colin Kaepernick, as we know, wants more than league minimum. He's not going to sign a Cam Newton contract, right? He thinks he deserves big dollars because he lost big dollars because San Francisco cut him because, well, he's the one who signed a contract without any guaranteed money after year 2. That's your fault for having a bad agent, not mine. but he hasn't thrown a football in, what, 4 years?
Yeah, well,
in the league,
he's been practicing. You remember, he's ready to go. He's in shape. At least that's according to what he says. He's ready to go. He's been in shape. He's been game ready.
I mean, he hasn't thrown a ball in the league in 4 years. When he left the league, it wasn't like he left it on top. I mean, let's remember, he didn't get cut because he was, an all-pro quarterback. And now he's going to want 5, 10, 15. I mean, what did he ask the AAF for? $20 million to play for one season? Like, I can't with this guy anymore. I just can't, because we all know he doesn't care about playing football anymore. He cares about being a martyr, being a figure, making a statement. I can't with him. Look, if I was an NFL team, I wouldn't touch him. I would go out in the media and tell people I'm not going to touch him. Here's why I'm not going to touch him: because A, I'm not meeting his contract demands. B, he ain't touched the football in 4 years. And C, even at 29 years old, he was already in a decline like he was 36. Like, come on.
Yeah, and everybody's living off of those stats. Oh, if you look at those stats, but guess what? There is an upside to your new quarterback that you bring, your rookie quarterback, your 2 or 3 year. There's upswing to those guys. When you're Colin Kaepernick, Cuervo, you don't necessarily know what you're going to get with this guy walking in shape or whatever the case may be. And then if you do have to cut him, how are you going to cut him without taking a major, major hit when it comes to what people, what perception is or in reality right now?
And that's going to be the thing. Now that, this whole thing has become a big story again with Black Lives Matter and all that. Now everybody wants, teams to sign them, and is once, like you said, once you do it, you're committed.
Yep.
No matter how bad
you can't cut him.
Yeah, no matter how bad he performs during practice, no matter how bad you want to make him just your emergency third string quarterback, but you think that there's someone that is a better third string emergency quarterback, you just can't do it. So once you sign him, you better be sure that you're willing to keep him at all costs.
Yeah.
And so that's the situation that these 32 teams are looking at is, look, if we sign him, we have to plan to keep him because God forbid you cut this guy. Oh, you're going to be known as the most racist franchise in sports. Mm-hmm. So,
and no matter what the reasoning being in reality, even if it's valid.
Right, because the problem is you can't prove why you cut him. You can sit there and tell everybody, yeah, the dude sucks. You should see the way how bad he was at practice. The guy can't, can't read a playbook. So, but you think anybody's going to believe that? Not for a second. Not
4 years. 4 years. You're taking a huge risk on the guy. 4 years, and not only that, like Jonathan said. Go ahead.
No, but I was just gonna say, and that's why I believe that I don't think he will. It's too late now. You had your opportunity before this all happened to take a chance on him. See what I mean. That workout video came out just before all these protests and everything happened, if I remember right.
Yeah.
So that was the window you had to say, screw it. Let's see what he's got. Now, once you sign him, that's it. You're committed to him.
Yeah, and it's a tough road to hoe. It's one of those things when I take a look at a guy, we and the good thing is we've been on air for as long as we have, and we've been talking about his talent going down before this whole thing goes on, and everything else. So it's not about whether or not that we think when you draft a guy and you think that he is going to be your guy. It's hard to say that. And listen, Colin Kaepernick at one point, he was super bad. I mean, they were in the Super Bowl. He won playoff games. I completely and utterly understand that. But we're talking about 6 and 7 years down the road, now. Not like this happened 2 years ago, and where I think that a team would maybe make the stretch and go out there and do it and grab him up. But we're talking long years, how many quarterbacks that have come out of college that have made a name for themselves in the last 4 years if they were the franchise guy. So this one's tough, and you never know. Like I said, you look at Sam Darnold over there, you look at Josh Allen. Those are two guys that I think of because these guys I think are on the upswing of their career. Are you going to take that risk and grab up Colin Kaepernick and take away from the opportunity from a Josh Allen or Sam Darnold to improve like they've continued to improve, for the first years of their career? It's a tough decision to take. Go ahead, Jonathan.
I think I found a team that can bring in Kaepernick and cut him.
Okay.
The Jaguars.
Ooh.
Their owner's Pakistani.
Yeah.
He's a Muslim. I think if there's an owner in sports that could sit there and look at everybody in this country that tries to come after him and say, this guy, me, really, like
yeah,
nobody's liked anybody that's looked like me since 1993 when they tried to blow up the World Trade Center the first time. Like nobody's liked me since then. I'm the racist. I think he's the only one that can get away with it. I honestly believe he's the only owner that can get away with that. A Shad Khan with the Jaguars. That just popped in my head. I'm like, look, it's not the coach or the GM that you have to worry about. Because look, if the coaches or the GM were really a problem, we'd hear about it from these players.
Good point.
It's the owner. And I think he's the only owner that can withstand the storm, mainly because he's the only owner that, is an old white guy.
Yeah, interestingly enough, I'll even put this out there. Jaguar fan that I am. All right, Jaguars quarterbacks, okay? Gardner Minshew. I'm sorry, the guy sucks. Everybody can love him. The guy sucks. Mike Glennon, he sucks. Okay, Josh Dobbs, we don't necessarily know. And Jake Lawton, I don't know. But here's what I am going to tell you. I think I'd take Colin Kaepernick right now over those guys right now. Yes, Gardner Minshew sucks. If you want to fall in love with Gardner Minshew, go ahead. Okay, but the guy sucks. Okay, he didn't prove he was good last year. He had 2 good football games, and just like every franchise, they fall in the lining of one Brian Hoyer, playing games that don't matter, have good games. All of a sudden, he's a great quarterback. Crap, that's how Brian Hoyer made his money. Last 4 games of the season, playing teams that didn't have a chance at making the playoffs. They sucked. He actually played well, and he got paid. And that's what he's living on ever since that whole thing went down. Right now, I think you're right. I mean, and also look at the instability of what the NFC South is in reality. Okay, we don't know how Phillip Rivers is going to do over in Indianapolis because of his age. We don't know if Watson is going to get hurt because the type of style that he plays that puts him at risk of getting hurt. And then Tennessee, you don't know if you're going to get a Ryan Tannehill that drove him to the playoffs, or you're going to get the Ryan Tannehill that played in the last 3 years in Miami. So you want to talk about a division of football that would be perfect for him to shine and prove that he is. It's got to be the AFC South, because I'll say it is the worst division in football in reality.
I mean, look, man.
I mean, come on. I mean, think about it. Who's the worst? Who's the worst division of football in the NFL right now?
The AFC East still sucks.
Well, I guess I'm living on what could happen with Josh Allen and Darnold, where they could go.
Josh Allen sucks.
I think he's getting better. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like he's like a knockoff Cam Newton. He's not even like, he plays like Cam Newton. He's like the cheap version of Cam Newton, the one you get like Save-A-Lot.
At the swap meets.
Ain't nobody want that, man.
He's the Josh Allen. At the swap meets, that you can buy for $5.
like people in Wyoming don't even like Josh Allen. Like, as somebody who watched him a lot in college, like, man, that man's a bum. But like that may be the worst division. Because think about it, New England's run the division for how long? So
yep, 11, 12 years. Yep. I don't know. I don't know. What's the worst team what's the worst division of football in the NFL? I mean, it's a close second is the NFC East because God, they can't decide if anybody's going to be good every year or not. So I don't know.
Either.
Yeah, honestly, this may sound weird to you guys, but I think you look at the AFC North. Obviously, Baltimore is the cream of the crop now in that division. But you look at like Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, Cleveland. I mean, I don't see those teams as very competitive, very good. Baltimore carries that division right now. And you look at the quarterbacks. Obviously, you got Lamar, the MVP. Okay. You got an old Ben Roethlisberger, who's probably in his last year now. Baker Mayfield and Joe Burrow, who's going to be a rookie. Those are your other three quarterbacks in that division. So I look at the AFC North and I'm like, they used to be really good. Like you're talking about good, tough, physical division. Now it's just like the Ravens who choked in the playoffs, and then you got dumpster teams after that. Jonathan may not agree with me because he gave me that look too. Like, bro, what are you talking about? But I mean, maybe you see it different. But that's how I see the AFC North.
I think the difference is that Pittsburgh's a franchise of stability, right? We trust them to actually be good. Like, yeah, Roethlisberger's a problem right now, and they're maybe an 8-8 team on a good day.
Yeah.
But at Cleveland, obviously, you don't trust them worth a damn. But like, maybe they'll be 8-8 this year. 8-8
if they're lucky.
If you're lucky, right? Cincinnati, they bottomed out pretty hard, and it's going to take a couple years for them to get back. Yep. But 3 years ago, you're talking about 3 playoff teams for that division. And I know 3 years ago is a long time.
Terrible.
But I look at the AFC East, and it's like Buffalo made the playoffs for the first time since what? 99? The Dolphins haven't made the playoffs since 2007, and the Jets haven't made the playoffs since
2010, I think.
I would say it was 10 or 11. So
maybe 11.
Yeah, so this division is just it's perpetual garbage. The Dolphins are poorly run. The Bills are poorly run, which sucks because now they're poorly running the Sabres in the NHL. And the Jets have been poorly run. So where I look at the AFC South, like Houston wasn't poorly ran until they gave Bill O'Brien the GM job. The Colts seem to be run pretty fine now, but before the GM they have now, Ballard, right? The guy before that was just dumpster fire. The Titans, even they have had a long stretch where before Ryan Tannehill saved their season, and let's remember that Ryan Tannehill got thrown out of Miami.
Yeah.
And he was a first-round pick quarterback for them. He was he was selected to be the guy. So the fact they're banking on Tannehill and gave him a bunch of money, does that make anybody else nervous? Because it makes me really nervous for Titan fans. And so the South has just had all this instability, but at the same time, you look at the South and you go, well, Houston's going to win 9 games. The Colts are going to win 9 games. The Titans are going to win 9 games. The Jaguars, okay, maybe that year was a fluke. They're going to win 5. And I think that's the difference is there's 3 teams in the AFC South that can make the playoffs. Whereas in the AFC East, I'm like, man, there's 1. On a good year, there's 2, but there's 1. The NFC East, like Sonny brought up, it's really 1. You just don't know which one it's going to be.
What one?
The Giants aren't run right. The Cowboys aren't run right. The Redskins aren't run right. The Eagles are run right, but they just have bad injury luck at this point. NFC North, I trust all of those teams, except the Bears. No offense, but let's be honest.
Well, we mentioned it earlier, Jonathan, before you came online. When you got 2 quarterbacks, you don't have 1.
Right.
Yes.
Which, my grandfather's a Bears fan. He's like, hey, we should sign Cam Newton. This was last week. And I go, you really want 3 quarterbacks? He's like, maybe we'll find one. Like, Angel had him like -2 at this point. I'm like, you gotta, but he's like, you just gotta keep throwing quarterbacks on a problem until you find one. I'm like, all right, bud, good luck with that. But like the NFC South is ran pretty well. The NFC West is run pretty well. The AFC West is run pretty well. So like I look at the East at both sides, and I look at the AFC South. And at the end of the day, I think the two East divisions are the two worst in the NFL because you have 6 out of the 8 franchises that are run incredibly poorly. And in all honesty, you have 6 franchises that you're lucky if you make the playoffs.
Yep.
And you really are. The Redskins, the Dolphins, and the Jets definitely aren't making it. The Giants aren't going to make it. So it comes down to the Eagles, Cowboys, Bills, and Patriots. The Bills are only there because they're feeding off of 4 wins from the Jets and Dolphins. And I mean, look, the Cowboys and Eagles just fight back and forth for who can be the dumbest.
And I'm right there with you. I've looked through all of them. I don't know. It will be interesting this year because there's gonna be some changes. Will the young quarterbacks or will the young studs that a lot of teams that are getting ready to move up to be the superstars that they'll be? Will they be the quarterbacks or will they be the wide receivers of the future? We don't know. But man, I look at the AFC South and it is might be the best fit in reality when it comes to, will he have success? And that's going to be the biggest question, in reality. And then you got to ask yourself, what is the definition of success? What is the definition that will make Colin Kaepernick be the guy that will continue to talk about during the year and next year, and who will grab him up? Will he stay with the same team that he signed with, or will he be on the open market, a free open market? It should be interesting to see how that works. But huge stuff there. I don't know. We'll see what ends up happening there, but I don't know. When you sign Colin Kaepernick, you've got that problem. We'll whatever team that does it, good luck to him, because it's going to be a tough road to hoe. And then the question will be is what NFL owner wants to listen to the off-field problems?
The NFL wants him to sign one of the Los Angeles teams, right? Because they Hard Knocks is covering the Rams and the Chargers this year. So the NFL wants him to sign one of those two. Because HBO is just going to sit there and stick a camera on his forehead. Yeah. Right? Whether he does
give him a GoPro.
The NFL makes out cream no matter what. Yeah. That's why everybody was like, oh, the Chargers are going to sign him. Mainly, everybody said the Chargers are going to sign him because Anthony Lynn happens to have a dark shade of skin, which, by the way, is racist. Can we just call that what it is? You can't just sit there and be like, the Chargers are going to sign Kaepernick because the coach is black. No, that's not how this works.
No.
Anyway, that bothered me. That really bothered me because Anthony Lynn just drafted a kid. He's got Tyrod Taylor as a perfect placeholder, and everybody's trying to shove Colin Kaepernick down his throat because of his skin color. That's screwed up.
Yeah, that's not right.
Like the Rams or the Chargers are who the NFL wants him to go to, though, because HBO will just sit there and cover him the whole time. And he's either going to make the NFL look good by letting him back in, or he's going to make himself like an ass. And then the NFL wins.
It's going to be either way the NFL wins because
and that's how you can cut him. That's how you can cut him if he's on a Hard Knock, because then you get to see him in training camp.
Well, and think about this. Even though that you might be right, Jonathan, regarding that, and I'm not even going to say I disagree with that statement. But when you think about the timing of what they will do and how they'll do it based upon if they have the visual proof. Hey, listen, it's all about the optics in reality. I mean, because all you got to do is go back in history. Look at the running back for Baltimore. Everybody was talking about what happened, but until they saw the video of it, it became disgusting. Ray Rice. Thank you very much. So it's all about the optics in reality. And those optics will get put out by the team that maybe takes the shot on them. I think you'll see more coverage of him. You'll see more, of what he's doing in training camp compared to any other time in reality, because when you're not getting any film out of training camp. I mean, reality, you're not getting jack. It's not going to be published out on ESPN or Fox or anywhere else. This year, you'll get that because all the cameras will be on them regardless what it is. So that might be their only ace in the hole is look how bad, he overthrew this guy. Look at how bad, and if there's enough optics to support it, then they might get away with it. So, but I have never seen film come out of training camp in reality that gives proof that, hey, this guy can't play. I've hardly ever seen film, or if there is, I just wasn't interested in it. Because in reality, when you look at training camp, you know who your quarterbacks are going to be. Listen, the day and age where there's a quarterback competition, that went away a long time ago. Because there's too much money invested in these guys and what their future can hold for their franchise. There's a reason why they sign rookies for nothing. It's not because of wide receivers. It's not because of running, maybe offensive linemen. But it's not because of wide receivers, tight ends, or defensive backs. It's because of quarterback. That's the reason why, and that's the reason why you're going to see that the franchise tag is going to be $37.5 million next year compared to $31.5 right now. I'm telling you right now, Dak Prescott's got some information because there was no need for him to sign that contract when he did it. Zero. There was no benefit for him to do it unless he knows something is coming up. And like you said, with the cancellation of that preseason game, he just makes more money in reality. Think about it, okay? He signs for the $31 million. They only play one preseason game. Boom. Less chances of him getting hurt. More money he makes because he didn't play. I think, it was such a smart move for him to do based upon what I think is going to. Now, the question will be, if there is a delay in the season, are they going to play all 16 games? So I guess I got to shoot that out. But I know they'll play half of them. They'll play the 3 division games and then the other ones within the NFC or AFC, sort of like what you're seeing in baseball right now with their stupid. Oh God, I don't. Baseball is so stupid. I can't even talk about it. I mean, it just Manford needs to be fired. That's number one. This guy. Anyway, I won't go into that. But do you see the NFL playing all 16 games? Do you see an abbreviated season? What he's saying? There's the head shaking right there. Jonathan, go ahead.
They're going to play all 16. They may only play 2 preseason games, which is what the players want. Well, reality is kind of what the owners want. But they're going to play all 16 NFL games. This season is going to start on time. They canceled the Hall of Fame game. They'll cancel week 1 and week 2 of the preseason. They'll play the last 2 weeks. They'll play all 16 games. We'll have fans in the stands by November. We will have sold-out stadiums come playoffs, and everything will be fine again.
So week number 1, do you see any limitation on what's going on in the stands there?
I think it would depend on the state.
Got it. Yep, because I got that working with Champions Indoor Football. The reason is not the fact we don't want to play, it's whether or not that they'll let them into the stadium, and they'll let some in there, but not enough to make it worth opening the doors. Now, the NFL is a different product. They obviously have TV. They got everything else. And so I'm wondering, how free will the NFL be on TV? How many people are going to sit and watch without fans? Because we already seen, listen, there's no bigger wrestling fan than Sonny Clark. Okay, I love me some wrestling. I've watched only the pay-per-views, and I didn't watch all of it because I just couldn't. Without fans, I don't know. I don't even know how deep I'm going to do it because my show is NFL. Okay, I'm going to do it because of the show. But if I was to sit down and say, yeah, I think I'll watch this football game, I don't know if I could do it without the fans. Cuervo, do you think the fans are a big part of what's going on why people will watch, or is the NFL product enough to sustain without fans?
No, I think you absolutely have to have fans. I mean, it adds such a bigger, it's almost half of what goes into the excitement of football.
Absolutely.
You got the crowds cheering and all that stuff, and You know what I mean? It's just, it just, I mean, how boring would football be to watch with no crowds? Like, I'm sorry. I mean,
try to watch wrestling without the crowds. That's how interesting it will be. Like, I agree.
I've been watching UFC some without crowds, and it just feels different.
Yeah.
And maybe because we're not used to it, but I just don't like the feeling.
Yeah. And it's hard to sit and watch a 3-hour baseball game with no fans on, because that's exactly what's going to happen. All right, let's try. Let's try. You know, listen, I go back in history as far as commissionership of Major League Baseball, and you want to talk about a sport that can't get it right. That's Major League Baseball. They can't find a commissioner to get the job done.
Driving me crazy, right, man. Driving me crazy with the negotiations.
And how easy is, I'm sorry, I guess maybe it is me. How easy is it to keep Major League Baseball on the front pages in reality? I'm telling you. So I'll jump to Jonathan. What do you think? I mean, John, look at Major League Baseball. Look at the opportunity that they could have done. Okay, but the problem is we got hot spots in Florida and Arizona where the spring training happens. That's where they should have done it. But now they're going to go ahead and open it up and do it nationwide. You know, I don't know. I don't know. How's this going to work? We got 60 games that we're going to see. Is it going to be worth watching?
Look, I'm a Rays fan, so I'm used to watching games without fans in the stands. All right, now that I made a joke, I had to say it. Like, I gotta make. I've heard it so much that like. So there you go. I mean,
you had to get a stab in there.
Yeah, no, I mean, I gotta hit my own fan base when I can. Look, yep. I miss baseball bad. I mean, and mainly, like, I'm upset that I didn't get to watch the College World Series this year, especially because I think Florida State was actually decent. I'm upset that I haven't gotten to go to minor league baseball games. I thoroughly enjoy good minor league.
How many minor league squads are down in Florida? I know of 6. Is there more?
Oh, there's way more. We've got the entire Florida State League plus 2 AA teams. So we have 14 teams total, which is funny because, like, the last minor league game I went to was a Frisco Rough Riders game.
Right down the street from me. Right down the street from me. Yep. Oh, yeah. It's nice.
So, like, I love minor league baseball. I haven't got any of that. Major League Baseball, I almost could do with it. I don't watch it as much as I used to. I don't get the MLB 9 innings package or anything like that anymore, MLB.TV. I watch my Rays, and I kind of move on. I don't really watch the ESPN games, nothing. I don't know what it is. I think these negotiations aren't as damaging as the strike year, which I believe was 94 was when they canceled the World Series.
I think you're right. I think it was 94. I'll look it up.
Which was the year I was born. But like, the fact, like, I don't think it was as damaging, but this is bad because you're already talking about a fan base that was not a fan of every time the players started, like, grabbing for money.
Yeah.
And they're very upset. And the players have done this whole, well, I'm not going to play unless I get my full salary because of the health risk to myself. And then it became, well, I want to play as many games as possible because I want as much as my check as possible. And then, the negotiations switched to, well, I can't live without my family. How are we going to do that? And so, like there was this weird foot dragging, and it's by both sides. Don't get me wrong. The owners definitely want to play as little games as possible because without gate receipts, like, it's harder to pay players. I understand this. Most of the Major League Baseball contracts aren't that good. And most of the money they get up front is already gone. So these owners really don't have the money from the TV revenues in all reality. But, like, I really think the players and the owners screwed on this one. And the problem became that the owners caught it on the public side because they said some things that bothered people. I mean, in Tampa, our ace, Blake Snell, great pitcher, Cy Young winner 2 years ago, down near last year due to an elbow issue. Not Tommy John, just, a little discomfort.
It'll happen.
Yeah. He said he wasn't going to play this year unless he got his full $7 million because he's still on his rookie contract. And everybody kind of said, well, but why? Like, if you're only going to play half a season, when you need $7 million for? And he's like, well, I got to get mine. I got to get my money. And then about 15 minutes later, he realized the slip up and then said, well, it's because of the health risk. Like I could be at risk of getting COVID. And we're like, dude, you're 24. I'm sitting there going, this guy's younger than me. What health risk are you actually concerned about? You're a Major League Baseball player. The minute you might get COVID, they've already got you full of drugs, dude. Like, you're fine. So, I mean, baseball, just like Mike Trout this is why Major League Baseball is mad that Mike Trout isn't vocal. Or Mookie Betts isn't really that vocal. Like, guys like that who could be really good faces for the league. And that's why other leagues need faces, because Major League Baseball doesn't have a single player who's willing to step up. So you hear all of them. The problem is the players you hear in Major League Baseball aren't the ones you want to hear from. Mike Trout, Mookie Betts, Aaron Judge, those guys needed to step up for Major League Baseball in this one and kind of eat the brunt and shut the fans down. And instead, you had guys like Blake Snell and Tony Clark, who was so underqualified to be the head of the Major League Baseball Players Association. It is a disgrace that the players continue to employ him in the job he is when he has continued to screw them in every negotiation possible. That is a horrible voice to have.
But let me ask you a question. I'll pose the question.
Okay.
What good is it for a baseball player to be a face of the league when the league is not doing anything as far as profit sharing? This is not the NFL where the players get part of the profits. So you expect them to eat what they got to eat because of what's going on. You're part of the whole process. Well, in Major League Baseball, they're not part of that process. They don't get the benefit of the profit sharing. So in reality, who would want to be a face for Major League Baseball in a situation where they're not going to get their money? I think I get Blake's. Go ahead, Cuervo.
Well, what I was going to say is, we can sit here and talk about who wants to be it? Well, somebody's got to be it, because ain't nobody listening to Tony Clark. This is like Jonathan said, the guy's way underqualified to be in the position that he's in, but probably because he knows a guy that knows a guy. Well, that's why he got the job. And so I think, what Jonathan's getting at is, guys like Trout and Judge and Mookie Betts, they can help be the voice of Mookie Betts or for the players to try and get this thing, resolved, so that way we can, get this thing going. I mean, this could have been avoided. We could have been playing baseball already, but because none of the current players wanted to step up and be the voice for the players. No, instead of, they relied on a guy that, has somewhat of a reputation in Tony Clark, and say, he can handle it. He's got it. As you can see, that wasn't enough firepower. So on the union side, or the owner side, everybody's expressing their opinion. But on the player side, nobody really has a voice. So when you have guys like Judge and Trout and Mookie Betts that you could use as that platform with the stars that they are, but yet it's not happening. That's why this thing is so delayed, because nobody on the player side, a current player, wants to say, you know what, enough is. Now, I know Bryce Harper, I think, if I remember right, guys, Bryce Harper kind of made a couple of comments, but it wasn't really, it was kind of like, yeah, he said what he said, and that was it.
I mean, but Bryce wanted to play in November and try and do 140 games, and everybody looked at him and said, okay, come back to the table when you have a realistic offer.
Well, come on, the 140 games has to do with that salary that he would pick up by playing.
Of course it does. We're talking about the same guy that held out for, the Phillies had to tack 3 extra years onto his contract so he could have a $300 million contract.
Hey, business is business. I get it.
Business, but like Bryce Harper just kind of needs to realize that the public eye ain't for him no more, dude. Nobody thinks you're cute or fun or exciting. Mike Trout, though, people like Mike Trout.
Yeah.
He's a likable guy. People see him at Eagles games and think, that's me. Now,
That's
then
awesome.
you watch Mike Trout play baseball and you go, yeah, that's not me. I can't do that. But, like, he's going to make, he's supposed to make 40-some-odd million a year. And, like, Mike Trout's the quietest guy at all of them. He don't say a damn thing. And in all reality, if Mike Trout had said something, it deflects the fan attention away from Manfred. So he doesn't get there just to stroke his ego this whole time.
Yep.
It deflects the attention away from Tony Clark, who nobody likes. And then these negotiations, I don't think, get as acrimonious. I think the problem, in all reality, was if these negotiations played out in the public eye the way they did, is none of the players stepped up to the plate to kind of deflect this. Because they could have gotten this situated. They could all be doing spring training right now. But they waited too long, and here's where we are, where they're going to start the season on the back end of July. They're going to do chartered flights all over the place. We're going to get somewhat of a shortened playoff seat or elongated playoffs. For what, though? It's 60 games. Like, everybody's in the playoff hunt. There's not going to be a single trade made. Like at this point, I'd rather baseball just not come back because this isn't a real season. I mean, this isn't like the hockey playoffs where there are traditionalists in hockey who are mad because how dare there be a play-in round? You know what? Things happen. I don't think anybody's mad about having an extra round of hockey. Okay? I think everybody's mad that we're getting a fake baseball season.
I look at 60 games, and listen, I'm all for shortening the Major League Baseball season. 60 games is not enough. So that right there but 100 games, I'm all about it. So
Yes.
it'd be I'm all about 100 games. Listen, sometimes when you have the right number, which is 100, it makes it a lot easier, and especially thinking about the stats, thinking about, he was good 50% of the time. I mean, everything becomes easier if you make it 100 games. So Sonny is about that because I like easy math. But take away from that, you think about Major League Baseball and what they're doing. Then you have the NBA doing what the hell they're doing. That is not even about sports right now. So that's one of the problems as far as what's going on with basketball, because you're not getting the same issues in Major League Baseball for the 60 games that you're getting with the issues based upon the NBA because of what you guys just talked about. There's no one standing up and talking in Major League Baseball that people are listening to. Unlike in the NBA, there are many people out there talking. There are many people out there that people are listening to. So that just kind of proves your point. Obviously, different sport, but you also got but now with the situation with what's going on with Kyrie Irving maybe taking a step, it's not necessarily NBA friendly, but it's being outspoken. It's going to be really interesting. And so I've kind of stayed away from what's going on in the NBA. Does anybody know how that's moving forward? Cuervo, do you know how that's moving forward? Because after Kyrie and Irving said what they said, I'm telling you, my brain turned off because I think people are going to buy what he's saying.
Are you talking about as far as like the season starting?
Or even having a season, or if they do it, they might do it in a different way, which is make their own league. If you remember, that's what he was saying too. I think what Kyrie Irving is bringing the point, and then I think it's Dwight Howard that's also backing what he is saying as well. So the combination is that they don't necessarily want to have that season per se because they think what's going on right now in the world is more important. And you look at the NFL and Major League Baseball, they're not looking at it as important. They're worried about their bottom line. So it's a really interesting difference of opinion based upon, hell, even look at hockey right now. Hockey, I don't even know what's going on with them. I know Jonathan knows more about the hockey. I like watching it, and if it's not on, I don't get into political things of what's going on in hockey. So, Jonathan, go ahead, Cuervo.
No, all I was going to say, Sonny, is I think obviously, yes, the most important thing is, everyone's health and all that stuff. But correct me if I'm wrong, John, I think the first NBA games are July 30th. Is that right? I want to say it's July 30th. You got the first game going.
I haven't even looked it up, Jonathan. Hey, Google knows everything, so let's find out.
Sorry, give me 1 second. This is gonna sound very ridiculous and very young, but I'm actually pulling on my Instagram because I follow so few people that all I need is the Magic schedule. Yeah, July 30th.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep. They're going to start back July 30th. Every team who's there is going to play 8 games, and then they're going to do playoffs.
I think it's almost, they've played games already this year and everything, so congratulations for that. But I don't see the need for I don't see the need for this. I really don't. And not only that, if you think about it, the Lakers win that, I mean, you're going to have the asterisk next to LeBron James's name, and then you have the LeBron lover saying, he won the championship, who cares, blah, blah, blah. And then you'll have the asterisk conspiracy people like me going, yeah.
He's got 3.5 rings.
Well,
exactly.
Already half rings, or their third rings, because he's part of the big 3.
Oh, very true. Very true.
So,
interestingly enough, I can't comprehend.
Are you guys? I'm not. I have to admit, I am not interested. I'm, and the main reason is because exactly what I said. I'll put it out there. LeBron James, I'll put it out there all day long. Best basketball player on the face of the earth right now. Bar not, I don't even think that's a debate. And if it is, he's no worse than number 3. All right. So take with that and his voice and what he's doing. But you want to tell me right now, but I'm going to tell you what I'm hoping for. And what I will watch is if he has the opportunity not to win the damn thing. So the only way I'm going to watch is that if they lose. Or they're in a final, they're in a finals and they got an opportunity to lose. I'm going to be watching that, and I'm going to be rooting against him. I don't want him to get this championship and all of a sudden, now he's got this many rings now. How close to Jordan is he in reality? When right now he can't even carry Kobe's job.
It's very true.
Damn, man, let us know how you really feel.
Say it loud for those in the back, Sonny.
That's what the show is.
I'm probably gonna watch the Magic games as long as they don't conflict with NHL games.
Okay.
Just because, I support the Magic. Look, I know that they're not the best franchise, but they're the closest to where I grew up.
Right.
I got to enjoy a finals run with them, which Kobe stole from me, but I can't be mad because I loved Kobe as a kid, man. Love Kobe. So oh, by the way, on the way to that finals run, we beat LeBron in Cleveland. So
there you go.
That's true.
Thank you. You're just making me feel good, Yeah, I'm a LeBron. I'll admit it. I'm a LeBron hater. No, I'm not necessarily a LeBron hater. I'm just tired of his shtick. I'm tired of his spiel. I mean, in reality, I'm going to tell you right now. And I know this sounds horrible, but Jordan wasn't, Jordan was not in the face of the cameras all the time talking about how great he is. And Jordan wasn't on the phone going, hey, man, why don't you come on over here? We'll play together. We'll win a championship. Jordan wasn't that guy. And that's the difference between LeBron James and Jordan as well as Kobe, because guess what? Kobe won championships after they got rid of Shaq. That's another level of how great Kobe is, more so than LeBron James. And like I said, I'll put it out there. I'll say it again, and I know people will rip me. Being compared or to be as great as Larry Bird is nothing to be embarrassed about, and that's all I get. Listen, LeBron James right now is equal to Larry Bird, period. I shouldn't say period because I know other people are going to look at the difference of what's going on and everything. But we're talking about NBA squads that were built for a team, not necessarily for one player. And when one player says, well, these 8 can go, we'll get 8 more and we'll still win. That turns me completely off on what LeBron James is all about. And if you want to believe that he didn't say that, I just got one question for you. Stick your head out the window, look up and tell me what color the sky is in your world. So.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's funny because oddly enough, I finally watched The Last Dance this week. I
took
watched.
a while.
Yeah, no, well, my mom was like, "Well, this is from when I was, like young. I want to watch this," and I'm like,
94.
Right, yeah.
You were born in 94. You were in diapers, man.
Yeah, like I didn't get to enjoy Michael as the player. I've only seen him as outside of his last year with the Wizards. I've only seen him as an owner, and he's been pretty bad at that. So
absolutely, it's horrible.
But one thing that sticks out with me though is they talk about how at one point it was during the Senate election or a House election in the state of North Carolina. Republicans buy shoes too. Michael knew not to go into the media. Mike, he even said during the documentary, "I let my play do the talking for me," and I appreciate that more. And I've done a lot of research and studying on those Magic teams or those Bulls teams. Don't get me wrong. I enjoy going back and watching Paxson and Kerr and Rodman, especially now looking back and realizing that I was a 5'9" Rodman in high school. I can rebound, I can play defense, but don't ask me to shoot.
Oh, Lord.
So those teams were fun.
Oh,
but it's interesting because if you watch Jordan and knowing how much of a hand he had in that documentary, and you compare it to LeBron's Barbershop series that he has with HBO, man, Michael still hasn't talked as much.
No. Oh no. Michael didn't. Hey, until he gave the money, he didn't say anything. And matter of fact, he was taking a lot of slack for not saying anything regarding that. And he still really hasn't said anything. He just let his money do the talking for him. Exactly. And listen, he learned, like you said, he learned that at a young age. There's no need for him to give an opinion about something that has absolutely nothing to do with his bottom line because it affects his bottom line. Good, bad, or indifferent, you can see the business side of what he's doing. You can also see he has to protect what he has to do. Now, I'm not one of these believers in reality that everybody needs to talk. I'm telling you right now, I get emails all the time, Sonny, how come you're not really talking about it? It's because no one wants to listen to me. All right, my opinion about what's going on in the world and everything means absolutely nothing to anybody. Okay, so my voice is not the ones that are going to be heard, so I don't say anything. So I've been kind of accused by, well, why are you not saying anything? You're saying something else. Listen, I'm all for everything that they're doing. Keep doing it and continue to do it, and that's all I got to say about it. But other people that have that influence, okay, they've got to take that chance. And listen, you can say whatever you want about the movement, okay? And I'm all for the movement. But when you're talking about guys that all right, I'll just say it. When you're talking about guys that grew up without the type of life that they're living now compared to what they did before, they don't want to lose it. And if they say the wrong thing or do whatever, okay, that's the risk, and they can't take that risk, whether it be they just don't want to or they have a family that they got to take care of and everything else. So protecting their interests and let's be honest, everybody's interest is their own pocketbook, okay? So some people are not making that statement, not because they don't believe in what's going on in the world, but it's how it will be perceived, good, bad, or indifferent. And unfortunately, when it comes to money, when it comes to sports, it's a little bit different compared to politics. When you're talking about it, at least you're talking about it. But in sports, if you're talked about or looked upon in a negative way, it does affect the bottom line. All you got to do is look at Colin Kaepernick. All you got to do is look at Ryan Leaf. All you got to do is look at all these great examples of guys that took that step forward and opened their mouth when they probably shouldn't, and how much money it cost them in reality when they opened their mouth. If people learn from that kind of thing, I'm not saying it's good, bad, or indifferent. I'm just saying it's the way of the world. So
I agree.
No,
Yep.
that's a good point, Sonny. I mean, words mean a lot depending on the platform that you're on in the sports industry, especially in the sports industry.
Absolutely. And just putting to you, we were having a little conversation in the sideline. You don't want to be afraid. You're not going to wear the mask. And of course, I'm double your age, so I got to wear the mask. I'm old people. I'm the perfect I am the perfect buffet for this COVID-19, so I'm wearing the damn mask. Good, bad, and you can't tell me that you can't get it if you're not wearing the mask. It'll prevent you from getting it. Because if it's not going out, it's not coming in. So I'm not falling for it. I'm not falling for it. It doesn't make it. So, yeah, and Judge Judy says it, okay? If it doesn't make sense, it's not true. So if it can't go out, it can't go in, and I'm just living with that. I'm going to live in my own reality of what that's all about.
My stance on mask is actually because of my friends who are healthcare professionals.
Mm-hmm.
And how they've let's start with this. Most doctors aren't wearing the masks correctly. There's actually an inside and outside to a mask, and a lot of people know that. Masks have a top and a bottom if they don't have the silver clip.
That's why they put the little metal thing so it goes around your nose.
Right.
I
was at the grocery store yesterday in Naples, and I saw a lady wearing a face shield, the transparent ones for like sandblasting. I don't know what that's supposed to do, but good luck with that.
Right.
I saw people wearing the mask, but it not covering their nose.
Yes.
And my nurse friends that I know, which are all in the Tampa Bay area, we spoke about it, and they said, in all reality, if you're wearing a mask and you come into contact with somebody who has COVID, you can still get it. If you're not wearing a mask, but somebody who has COVID is wearing a mask, and you come into contact with them, you can still get it. Like, the masks aren't the end all be all, because let's not forget that most people don't understand that there's specific guidelines on how to clean your cloth mask, which involve boiling or using chlorine. Okay, I don't know how many people want to do either one of them, but good luck with that. Most people don't
smell it.
Yeah, most people don't get rid of the disposable masks when they should. If you look at a normal hospital, they get rid of those masks every single room. Now they're not doing that. You're supposed to get rid of them after every patient, because after every patient you come across something new. Well, that's not what they're doing anymore. Everybody's just wearing them for an entire day. In Florida, I've seen a lot of people wear them while they're driving, which makes no sense to me. They'll wear them while they're driving with windows up, which makes even less sense to me. Look, the only reason we used to keep them in the house is when we used to mow the lawn, because there used to be a couple acres. Grass and dirt and pollen and all that good stuff. But like outside of that, like we never wore the mask. So I'm not going to wear them. Now, my grandfather, who's 80 years old and is on dialysis and has diabetes and all of his other stuff, go ahead and wear your mask. Like, wear it. Like, if you don't want to die, wear your mask, or don't leave your house. Pick one. But I'm not wearing a mask. I don't feel I need to. And, in my state alone, a bunch of us are popping hot, and like 2 have gone to the hospital. So yeah, that tells you everything you need to know. Our death rate from COVID has dropped to 0.4%, but our number of cases has shot through. It's shot way up.
So what's going on in Dallas and the Texas?
The hot spots. What did they think was going to happen when you open the bars? In all reality, see, my biggest problem with the state of Florida right now, I think DeSantis has played this really well. I actually like our governor a lot. I was a little leery of him when he got elected, but I mean, look, it's better than the guy he beat, who got caught in a hotel in Miami with a dead gay hooker who OD'd on meth. I'm not kidding; it's a real story. Look up Andrew Gillum. But DeSantis wasn't the guy I wanted, because he was, to be honest with you, the only reason he won was because he was endorsed by Trump. I wanted our ag guy. Trump didn't like him, whatever. DeSantis got into office and kind of gave Trump the middle finger and did a couple things that he didn't like. Everybody got on board with them. So, I liked how he's handled this, but I did not like the fact that he opened up the bars 3 months earlier than anticipated, knowing that this was going to happen. I hate the fact that we can't close our airports, because it allows everybody from New York and Massachusetts and whatnot to come down here. And I'm tired of all these out-of-state plates. All you people need to go home.
Yes.
I'm done with it. I'm sick of y'all.
You're all for closing the borders, it sounds like.
for my state right now, yeah. No, it sounds like messed up, but it's true. Look, the only out-of-state license plates I'm okay with are Texas, because that means you're a rental car. Like, even then, I'm like a little iffy. I'm a little 50-50 on that, but a lot of people in Florida are using rental cars right now instead of Uber. So that that's the explanation for that. I just like it. It's just
we're in a different world. Hey, speaking of masks, we're going to see it in the stands, aren't we, Cuervo? We're going to see the fans if the NFL puts them out there. We're going to see the masks, aren't we?
Absolutely, yeah. It's going to 100% mandatory.
Yeah,
I think all across every stadium,
except for lifting it so you can get your beer. So you'll be
there.
going.
You go.
And that's when you expose everybody.
Yeah, or they're going to get straws that will go up on. But drinking beer out of straw, how exhilarating it is! One time it gets real old.
Wait, so you got to get the mask with the filters.
Yeah, there you go.
That way you could just pour it through the filter.
And they're going to come up with masks where they have this little thing that will go to the side so you can get a straw in there, and then you can close it. That's what's going to happen. So, interestingly enough, listen, guys, I'll be honest. I expected the show to go 1 hour. We're in 2 hours and 15 minutes, so I'm shocked. But that's just what we do. We get the opportunity. We'll go to the left, we'll go to the right, and we'll bring up whatever needs to happen. But yeah, Sonny Clark, yeah, he is all about masks right there. I mean, I am backed up. And in fact, what you can't see in that picture, there's actually two. That's the reason why he has his on his forehead. That's my colored commentator for.
I was about to ask, like, why is he double strapped?
And he's doing his best Bobby Heenan, Jesse Ventura imitation by doing that. I had both of them right there.
I'm gonna say, is he afraid of, like, does he have a cut on his head?
Yeah, something up there. He's got to protect it. Yeah,
or is he just trying to stop the glare? Like,
yeah. Oh, a lot of fun.
We need to put one on top of your head.
That's right. Exactly. It'll be interesting. Wear one the way it's supposed to. Wear the second one backwards, so it's actually doing the work. So you're actually wearing two. That literally, that's the way I did it since they gave me two. I was like, screw it, I'll just put it and turn it around. And supposedly and I'll even take that 1 point, or that'll take that 0.00007 down to 0.000 maybe 2 or 3. So there we go.
Sure.
I'm just too old. If I was young bucks like you guys, I probably wouldn't care either. So,
Sonny,
it is what
you
it
live
is.
in Texas.
I know.
Nothing kills anybody from Texas.
Right.
Nothing kills you guys. Like, you'll get bit by a rattlesnake and spit the poison back at him. You live in Texas, man.
Boy, I don't. Yeah.
But he's like a honey badger.
Yeah, but you gotta understand. There's more stupid people in Texas. I just said it. There's dumb people in Texas. I swear.
I've been to Houston, so I can attest.
Yeah, there's some real dumb people in this world. But hey, that's just me. I gotta watch it. I gotta be careful.
I live in Florida. You've heard of Florida Man. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh Lord, but have we covered everything, or did we not cover something that we should have? That's a major story, and it just went way over my head.
In hockey right now, their players and the owners are negotiating how they're going to do revenue splits for the next couple of years right now. And the early word is that conversations have been really positive. For the first time ever, the NHL has actually had really good labor negotiations. This has been fantastic. Thanks, baseball, for screwing this one up. Who would have thought NHL was going to be the one to get this one right?
No kidding, right?
Like the NBA and Major League Baseball completely screwed the pooch here, and hockey and the NFL look golden. Anyways, so they're negotiating how to do revenue splits over the next couple of years. They want to make sure everything falls in line and is equal, because they do anticipate revenue falls for the next couple of years. They are very close to announcing what the locations are going to be for the first round for the playoffs. As of right now, the Eastern Conference playoffs are supposed to be in Las Vegas, and the Western Conference playoffs are supposed to be in Toronto. The idea is that nobody has home ice. They have not made any sort of announcement, and there's really been no talk on when the Stanley Cup's going to be. But hockey games were the opening round, my bad, not the first round of the playoffs, the play-in round. How they have the play-in games in March Madness. That is supposed to start on July 30th. But like we had a bunch of players test positive in Tampa. I can tell you that entire team is herd immunized because they've all been with each other. They've all been playing in a rink together. I'm not going to tell you where, why, or how, but I know that they've spent a lot of time together. So the NHL is already out in front of this. None of the players have been hospitalized. Most of them have very minor symptoms. The players have gone past the whole, we can't bring our families thing. The NHL actually got Canada to bend their quarantine rule so they could put the playoffs in Toronto.
Wow, interesting. I didn't know they were doing that at one point. I know they were going to try to do it like, what was it, like 4 or 5 places? We did a show. I had Chris Curtis. He is a big NHL fan down in this area, and he kind of explained it, and I was just like, wow, that's real interesting on how they do it. And I didn't know the logistics at the time. Still don't necessarily know the Is it six cities that they're doing?
No, they've cut it. There's 6 candidates, but they actually cut it down to only 2 cities now.
2 cities, got it.
They decided all the East and all the West should be together with the idea of, we can reseed it if there's an upset. So the 1 seed always plays the lower. And then it just made more sense to have all those teams in the same bubble. In all reality, it limits your exposure. It limits the risk. They love Vegas, and that there was actually the NHL was where the NBA was going to pick Vegas as their reboot location. When they picked Orlando, hockey kind of jumped and screamed and ran to the podium, kind of a thing. So they're very excited about that. They've been fighting to get Toronto. Unless something happens last second, it's going to be Toronto. If there's a last second decision against it, they'll actually be in Chicago. But from what I understand, because Canada actually waived their 2-week quarantine period, they are going to go ahead with Toronto. What else? Like I said,
that's obviously for athletes only. So,
pardon?
That's obviously for those folks only.
I know that. Like I said, there's no decision on the Stanley Cup yet. I don't know why we're waiting on that. That one's interesting to me. There's no locations or nothing as of right now. They're talking about doing at least 4 playoff games a day. They want to have hockey every day. They want to have it all day. They just want to sit there and throw it at us nonstop. So the NHL's gotten this one right, and all the money that they were supposed to lose because they didn't play those last 10 games of the season, they might actually come out positive, and that's massive. Considering that they're not going to have, all those sellouts, because every hockey game, except for the ones in Miami and Phoenix, sell out.
Yeah. So, interestingly enough, we'll see. We'll find out if it's watchable, and I'll give it a shot. I will take the time. I'll sit down and I will watch it. Without the fans, it's going to be tough. I think that's
hockey's toughest for me.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah, because the fans are. Well, I think as far as that's concerned, you look at, the excitement of the fans and, the pounding on the glass and all that other stuff, you miss all that good stuff, but, so that is hard. So, but, biggest news obviously was today, the Cam Newton signing and everything else. And, so we pretty much covered all the bases on some of that stuff. We obviously may have missed something, but where we're at now. So, but I don't know. Is there anything else we wanted to cover before we kick on out of here, Cuervo?
I don't know, Sonny. I think we covered everything. I mean, Cam Newton signing. We got into some baseball talk. We got into some hockey talk, NFL talk, which we always do. Unless we want to talk about La Liga, I mean, I can't think of anything else that we can. La Liga soccer.
What?
Yeah. Who?
No. What is a lot? Yeah, I'm missing something. I obviously am not keeping up. Who? What?
Spain soccer.
Huh?
It's Spain's soccer league.
Oh,
Spain
yeah,
soccer.
yeah.
La Liga.
Yeah. Or what the Korean baseball. Hey, the Korean baseball thing, I heard what they're doing. They got the sound effects and the stuff. Lord, that's why I put we'll have our sound effects back next week. I finally figured out how to do it, Cuervo. And actually this show, when we were doing it, just popped in my head how I'm going to do it. So we'll have our sound effects like we normally do back next time we're up on air. Yeah. Who is that?
Hi. This is Koa.
Koa.
Hi, Koa.
Is that yours or is that somebody else's?
No, this is my girlfriend's dog.
Ah, got it. So that one looks like he likes you, so you're lucky.
Yeah, we're buddies.
Yeah.
We weren't at first, but we get along now.
Yeah. How's your ankles? Still got scabs from when he bit you?
No, they're gone now.
I got it. All right, good. Oh yeah, that's right. You've been with her for a while. So all right, cool. So that's gonna do it for me. That's all I got. Yesterday I was just too tired. I stayed and did a wrestling promotion. I didn't get home until 2:00. So that's the reason why we didn't do the show yesterday. Plus, you probably couldn't have made it yesterday. So I'm glad that we're able to get up on air and finally get you back. And Jonathan, of course, you're always welcome. And that's the reason why I send out the link to you and Tarvin. And always good to see Tarvin out there and his MAGA.
Yeah, he disappeared.
It just fell off.
I don't know. Yeah.
I must have blasted Cam Newton enough to where he was done with it for it. So
it's hard to keep him locked down, man. He's got those two little rugrats.
I think too. And we miss having him on the show regularly. So that's the reason why. If you guys ever want to do it and you don't have to pay for it, we'll do. I'll put you up on this platform for you and get y'all squared. So,
but I mean, look, it was funny because I had a class this morning, and a class ended, and I'm like, wow, all right, well, I haven't been up this early in a while. What do I do? What do I do before noon? And I saw you put something in the chat, and I'm like, I guess I know what I'm doing. So.
Wait, you got classes? Has your school started? Is that what it is?
Well, I'm in summer semester C, so everything's online, which is great because I have one of FSU's former track coaches who actually looks a lot like you, but 10 years older.
So he must be really good looking.
Oh, great looking. But yeah, so we're doing everything online. Summer C is usually the first semester for incoming freshmen, but not this year. But yeah, I'm just wrapping this up so I can figure out where I'm going to.
All right, so I got to ask, with my daughter getting the free ride to the North Texas Mean Green, the Eagles.
Hey!
What are their chances in football? What are they any good? I don't know. So,
have you visited that campus?
I almost said it's beautiful, but I mean it's trash.
It's something.
It's something. It's old, is what it is. There's nothing new about it in reality, except the stadium. The stadium is cool. I'll give.
There's the buildings along the highway that are brand new, but everything off the highway is so I went there, what was it, 2 summers ago, and I'm like, oh, look at all these glass buildings. This is nice. And I got as soon as you get off the highway, you actually get into campus, you're like, holy
It's crap. Like they don't know what the word progress means in reality.
Mean Joe Green says this is old.
Damn.
Yeah,
probably hasn't been much changes
and he probably
since then.
said this building's old when he was a student. I mean, it's an Denton's a nice little area. My best friend's girlfriend went to Texas Women's College, which is right next door.
Yep, right down the right. Yep.
But they have a good head coach in Seth. Hold on, now I need to make sure he's still there before I talk about how good of a coach he is. Yeah. All right. So they got a good head coach in Seth Luttrell. They just lost probably the best quarterback in program history in Mason.
Now I heard about that. Yeah, that was the big news. He's gone. Did he get drafted or no?
I don't believe Mason did, but I want to say
he'll get picked up probably.
I don't even think he signed.
Oh, okay.
He's 5'11", so there's a little bit of a problem there. But Seth Luttrell does a really good job of recruiting in the state of Texas. He's spent most of his career in the college ranks, but he's actually from Muskogee, Oklahoma. So he's I mean, ain't that far from Dallas.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, he's done a really good job at North Texas. I think he's building a consistent program there. I don't know how much longer he's going to be there. He was supposed to leave for Kansas State, but I want to say they told him he wasn't allowed to control his assistant coach hires, and he said no thanks. I mean, I don't know how this year's going to go. The last year was somewhat disappointing, but I mean, I still think this is the team. I think this year's a rebuild, reload year. Well, they're group of 5 team. It's a rebuild year, but that's a team that once every 3-4 years is going to have a really good season. So she's coming at a perfect time where she should get a really fun 4-year build. In all reality, 5.
Well, she only gets 2 years. My daughter graduated. My daughter graduated high school as a junior in college. So yeah. Well, let's just say she's a lot smarter than I have ever been. So but I shouldn't say that because it's not very hard to be smarter than me. But she's a lot smarter than I ever have been. So.
She has to go to a basketball game though.
Oh no! I told her that because her dorm is literally across the street from the basketball court, and now she's been in there because of gymnastics, and she had a lot of gymnastics that we did. So I know about the basketball court.
Yeah.
All I know is those seats are real narrow. They're not built for Sonny Clark. Those are real narrow. So I was wishing they had benches, but they don't.
She's got to go to a game at the Pit. She's definitely got to go to a game, across the highway, because that's the fun thing is football stadiums across the highway.
Right.
She's got to go to a game there. If you go back there, there's dorms, go figure, but B, they just built a new indoor practice facility.
Yes,
that is absolutely titanic.
Yeah.
It's bigger than some NFL facilities. It's bigger than the one that Florida State has. Just put that into perspective. I love the state flag they fly outside the stadium. I love the green and white Texas state flag. That's a cute touch. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a good campus. They have good athletics. And I know they just redid like the whole Main Street area where all the bars and restaurants are.
You would think that it was big, but they did upgrade it. But they half-assed it. It doesn't. It's not as good as it could. Because when I was driving through there, I was like, okay, all right, very good. At least I know. I just wish there were better places for her to party. That was what I. Look at me. I'm not worried about her grades. I'm looking at a place where she can go party.
That's not bad, man. You got the women. From what I understand, that Texas Women's College or Texas Women's University, they know how to throw down.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun there. So hopefully they'll be good. We'll end up finding out. So I don't know. I've been one that I've been really looking, actually a little nervous about the situation. So hopefully it'll work out and be good. But so you'll see me supporting some mean green attire here coming up soon. So look out for that. That's gonna that's going to begin. Also, speaking of what. As far as guys that don't get the opportunities and stuff like that, I actually have found one of the guys I think that have been screwed. I mean, completely screwed, not getting the NFL shot. I'm in communication with Brandon Doughty. If you know anything about him, I know you do.
Kentucky.
Yes, I actually made contact with him, and I'm trying to get him on the show. I saw this guy over at Jerry World when they were doing the rookies coming in and doing the skills challenge. I actually hosted that. That's the only time I've been at, I've been employed by the ESPN. So my one day, that's it. But I saw him. I saw how good he was in his delivery and everything else. And talk about a guy that didn't get the opportunity that should have got the opportunity was him. So I'm going to bring him on. I don't normally do that, but I know that was one guy. I've always been a Brandon Doughty fan. After I saw him at that place, it was awesome. So
he's from South Florida, so I knew who he was, and I remember watching him in college. He had a pretty good 2014. Led a great Western Kentucky team to a great season.
Absolutely.
I know the Dolphins gave him, I think, 2 years, but kind of gave him 2 years of.
They put him on the practice squad for the maximum, which was 3 years, and after that, they had to let him go or sign him. they couldn't keep him any longer. So that was, and then he went to his last stint was in Arizona, and that didn't last long, especially after they drafted up what's his nose?
Kyler, yeah.
Yeah. So after that, he got kind of swept out the door. So we might kind of keep up with him and kind of watch where he goes. Hopefully he'll catch on somewhere, and maybe he can give us a little idea of what the practice squad's all about. That's the reason why I'm contacting him. I want to, we hear about what practice. Oh, he's on the practice squad. Well, what does that mean? I know what it means, but I want a player to talk about a little bit better so you can get a full understanding of what it's about. So, but we don't do guests up on this show unless I have some real special interest in them. And if you watch the show, Sonny Clark is a Brandon Doughty fan. So, but that's it. We good?
Sure.
All right, we're all good. Yeah, so we'll take a look if there's some major news coming down. I'll keep track with you, Cuervo, see where you're on your schedule. I am just like I think I agree with you. He's doing it right, Jonathan. He's got a lady. With sports really being on a downflow, I think I'd rather spend time with my lady if I actually had that opportunity. So I get exactly what he's doing, and I'm all for it. So I'm glad you were able to come in. She's working right now, right?
She is working.
Say, I knew that's the reason why he can make it. And why are you off on Monday, by the way? Why are you not working today?
There is a reason, Sonny. I can tell you off the air, but
okay.
there is a reason behind it.
All right, so there's a reason he's behind. So, all right, so that's going to do it for us on the Couch Potato Sports Show. Thanks for joining us, everybody. We'll come back. We'll try to shoot for Sunday, maybe Monday. I like the Monday morning quarterbacking thing. It's a lot of fun for me, and especially if I'm flying solo, I can usually take the Sunday off and then roll into it. So that's going to do it for me and Jonathan, and, of course, the one and only Brian Tarvin, and a fine co-host of the program, Mr. Cuervo. We're out of here, everybody. Have a good one. Take care. We'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Take care.